It's been a hell of a year for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think I have a couple of different opinions about tier lists now, whether it's because I played characters for a week, or the meta changed, or certain top players have shown that the theory of people doing well is a little bit more than just theory. So we're going to be going over the tier list, starting with bottom tier, going all the way up to top tier. So from the bottom up, we have bottom tier, low tier, mid tier, upper mid tier, because there's not really a clean way to do this in Smash Ultimate where you don't have some type of like weird middle ground tier. High tier and top tier. So starting from the bottom up, of course, we have Ganon. I think he is by far the worst character in the game. He doesn't have a good neutral, he doesn't have a good disadvantage, he has an okay advantage except for the fact that you can drift away from him. He has mediocre ledge trapping, he just kills you. He kills you real hard. He like murders you. It is scary, but he's bad. He hasn't really got a meta development recently, so it's the same thing as always. And that's going to be it for bottom tier. Ganon is the only bottom tier, in my opinion. I think every other character is significantly better than him. Speaking of which, a character that I low-key struggle with, I lost in a tournament to them this year. That's going to be Zelda. I think Zelda is quite bad. I think that while I personally am bad versus this character, that doesn't mean the character has tools. They have consistently struggled forever. We do have wine, we do have results for this character, right? I literally think every character from here has results, which is like an insane thing to think about. I just think that Zelda is really bad. She's super slow, she has a really bad disadvantage, she has Phantom, which is really good. Phantom by itself is better than Ganon, but then like that's kind of all she has. She has like up, out of shield, she has like a mediocre reflector invincibility thing. Character's not great, and again, this character in my opinion has had some development since the last tier list, but I still think she is eh. And I misspoke a little bit. I said that every character above this has results, but I don't really think this character does outside of Wi-Fi, and that is King Dedede. I think King Dedede has had very few optimizations. I think the character is just a lot of neutral and a lot of never dying, and hopefully you get an air up air or a back air and get a kill. This character is quite slow, quite bad. The recovery is good. The ledge trapping can be really scary as this character, which is the reason, in my opinion, he's better than Zelda, because Zelda takes a little bit more time to start a ledge trap, but Dedede just has like a Gordo, and that's good versus most characters. Just not a very good character overall, but not bottom two, so we take those. I think I put Dedede bottom two on my last tier list. If not, whoops. Next up is going to be, of course, a character we all know and love that is low tier, and we love Peanut. It is Little Mac. Peanut's Little Mac is so sick, but Little Mac is still not very good. Tadakotori has put in mad work. Peanut kind of stopped playing recently, hasn't played in a while, at least from what I have seen. But either way, this character can be very threatening. I made a video on a Little Mac from Europe, actually pretty recently, beating Nador and I forget the Orion. So again, character has results, not a ton of results, but has results, very fast on the ground, super armor, killing, confirms. There's a lot of scary stuff with this character, including being off stage as him. That's the scariest thing, actually. It's scarier than anything he can do offensively, which is the reason why he's down here. You know, you can't be a character with a good disadvantage or a bad disadvantage and be a good character unless everything else about your character is so good, and Little Max isn't. Up next is someone that will be kept away if you eat one apple a day, and it is Dr. Mario. Obviously still relatively bad character, but again, I think is a little bit better than bottom four. You know, Pill is a good move, good up, be out of shield, scary with killing. Again, the issue is just his disadvantage, right? He has Cape as a Beerverse at best, but he has not a lot of airspeed. His offstage game is really, really bad, and he can't really get off of the ledge either. So Doc is still scary, has some niche good matchups in top tier, like not necessarily winning, but like pretty, like it's scary to fight him, mostly being, Pikachu and Fox actually does pretty well versus those characters, but like struggles with swords, struggles with anyone that can deal with Pill super well, and so that is why Doc is down here. Again, has some good stuff, but not enough good stuff. Like all these characters have good stuff, they're just not good enough as all the good characters. Like these are at least like 5.5 to 6 out of 10s, you know, like Ganon's a 4. These are like, if you're gonna rate them out of 10, 5.5 or 6. But there's just like a ton of 8s, 9s, and 10s basically. Staying with theme of characters with bad disadvantages, we are going with the Belmonts. Again, Richter and Simon are the same thing. If you put them separately on your tier lists, you're weird. This character though, very strong neutral, right? The neutral is the very good thing about this character. The ledge trapping is also quite good with them, between Holy Water and F Tilt and F Smash and Down Smash and Side B and like Neutral B. There's a bunch of traps for this character, but the problem is they're too not mobile in the air. If they had like any airspeed, not even even for the recovery purpose, but just like once they jump, you know where they're going to go. So if you can avoid the forward air if they are wrong slightly, like once, it's just like, oh, well, that was it. And now you're going to get hit, and you might get hit off stage. You have to like risk down airs, but it's not even like down air. It's very funny. Down air doesn't even necessarily get you at a disadvantage because like he bounces on the shield or he bounces on your head. So like unlike Zero Suit, who's even if you are right about down air and she doesn't disadvantage, she lands on the floor. The Belmonts don't, so you don't necessarily end up back on the ground, which means you still have less resources, which means it's still very, very scary. Dama's on nothing as of late. He doesn't really play anymore. And like there's no Belmont to take his place. Like a few characters in this tier list have risen because it's like, oh, this was like a theory thing that actually came true, or like stuff that like got, you know, found out that people didn't really know existed before. It's like, oh, well, that's like really good for that character. Whereas the Belmonts are kind of the same. None of them are doing well enough in majors. And the last character in low tier is going to be someone that actually has pretty decent results right now, especially in the past like month and a half, ironically, and that is going to be King K. Rool. Brujo had a great run at whatever tournament was in the Northeast. I don't remember what it was called. You know, you have a couple K. Rools doing well online. You have Lukewarm whenever he enters does well. You have Brujo has done decent at other events as well, but I do want to mention that you can still win with a low tier in this game. That's just what happens. K. Rool is still a very linear character, right? You have Crown and, you know, neutral B for your neutral. You have strong moves like up tilt and F tilt for like very fast hits, which is really nice, but he doesn't really have combos, right? He has like 2 or 3 pieces, and he has like crown mix-ups for game or for like stocks and stuff like that. But I think overall, this is just a patience check, and the character's not actually good. But again, good enough. Like, hey, you have edge guarded. Oh, you got a spike. Oh, you got like a, you know, you scared someone and got jab, jab, crown up air. Like, that's really cool. But like, I don't think it's enough to justify putting him higher. And that's actually going to be it for low tier. I think every other character in this game is mid tier or better.
But ESAM, that's not how, you know, distributions work. It's not a normal distributions.
This isn't a normal game, and so that's just what happens. This is going to be the middle chunk of characters. The tiers get a bit bigger at this point, and we are getting into the definitely like relatively consistent tournament threats, just not the very overall, very much so threatening all the time characters. The lowest character in mid tier is gonna be, I guess, someone I think technically was slightly higher than in the last tier list, and that is Ike. I think Ike is mid tier instead of low tier. Again, does it really matter what the differential is? No, these characters are fairly close. It's just I'm not going to have a straight list of 80-something characters because that's not very fun, and that's also how Hungrybox does tier lists, and I don't want to steal his flow. So Ike, again, very linear game plan, but the line is pretty good, right? Nair, up air, nair, blah, 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 dash attack, forward tilt. Tora is the best Ike in the world at this point, and she is getting pretty decent results in Japan. Not crazy results. I don't think she has top 8'd a major yet, but she's definitely got some good wins. Just got, I believe, top 24 at Dome Park on the grass. So again, very good, pretty consistent player. Just Ike, again, you run into some really bad matchups. There's a lot of projectile characters that do well versus Ike. There's like Min is like unwinnable because you actually just get edge guarded every single time. There's just like a decent amount of struggle matchups. But again, if you get your hits and if you get like the player versus player reads, Ike can be terrifying. And again, good jumps, good aerials, right? Up next is a little bit of a promotion for this character. Again, still, I believe, if I'm doing my math right, bottom 10. Yeah, still bottom 10, but Piranha Plant has shown a little bit more good stuff. Beating Ashimo is crazy. With Toss, he's crazy. Also, again, I think Lucky's been doing pretty decent, you know, has gotten top like 9 at a bunch of like B tiers and stuff like that. Like literally gets 9th and like always loses to his twin brother in losers. But I think Plant is, again, not good necessarily, but I think Plant has some good stuff. That neutral be like weird, like you close your mouth but it still shoots out from you is like so interesting, and I did not know that was possible. So literally that one technique literally changes how I view this character, because suddenly he has really, really close-up mix-ups. If you aren't like super ready to, you know, hit and like dash grab the Patui, if you are giving him a little bit of space, because, you know, he still has like good kill moves, and if you are too aggressive, you'll get like a smashed out of shield, it can still be scary. And I didn't know that technique was possible. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go watch my video on Toss, which will be in the up in the corner above, because I go over it and I'm like, wait, what the hell? This is broken. And it's really crazy how you get like so much more activity from that. You get better combos and better shield pressure. It is honestly insane, and that by itself puts him, in my opinion, in mid tier as opposed to low tier, because he got tech. This is kind of the tier of blue hair sword protagonists, and first off, oh, you thought it was gonna be Marth because I hate Marth? No, it's Chrom. Chrom sucks. His character is fast, but he doesn't do enough, right? He has amazing moves. He has like some of the best moves in the game, and then you actually hit him off stage and he dies. He has one of the worst disadvantage states in the game because of that. You can never double jump in disadvantage, you can never double jump in neutral, you can never double jump ever, because if you ever get hit off stage, you're simply dead. So his character, again, I think like literally just like even a slightly better up B. Even if it was just Ike up B, if you threw the sword up, this character would be literally like 20 spots higher. But you don't get it. It doesn't work. But yeah, I think just Chrom, just again, good combos, good damage, good killing, but it doesn't matter how good your combos and killing are because very basic combos and positions just kill you. It's so scary to get ledge trapped when you're Chrom because you can't really ledge hop because if you ledge hop and get hit out of it, you're dead. So you just don't have the options available to you and you have to play disadvantage like that. It feels like Ganondorf, but obviously he has like a lot of good tools, so he's not that bad. And again, you maybe think I'm putting him this low. When's the last time you watched a Chrom do good? If you said Lancelot, yeah, that's fair. Lancelot's very good, but I don't know his results recently. But either way, again, some characters up here have pretty good results. I mean, Brujo like won a B tier over Zomba, so like the K rule's down here, so it's not necessarily a results-based thing, right? We dip into the Animal Crossing universe here, and I do believe this is the first time this has happened. I'm putting Villager below Isabelle. The reason for this, and Isabelle isn't next, but Villager, again, has decent tools, right? Slingshot, bowling ball, tree, side B is meh, but I just don't think that this character has enough in the close quarter combat, which people force, like, get their way into, and then, so, like, you're always playing a zoning game, but the zoning game is weird, and you don't have the close quarter combat tools that you would really like. You know, it's not like he has Smash 4 jab, right? He has a rapid jab, and rapid jabs are cool, it gets your opponent away from you, but it's a lot worse than getting a combo off of it, which is really, really cool. I think his recovery is also more exploitable than Isabelle's. It's still decent, right? Balloons go very far, even though he has no hitbox, so it's not like the best thing ever. But yeah, I just think Villager like is good. Again, all these characters are good. Even all of these characters are kind of good, but it's just not enough at this point. Plus, I feel like when I see Villager players, I feel like I see them go more Isabelle. I haven't seen ESAM play recently, who's the one from the northeast of the US, and I feel like when I see Kept, I see him playing Isabelle more. I could just be seeing different sets, but I feel like I just see him play Isabelle more. But we don't have Isabelle yet. They're not next to each other for the first time ever. As I said, this is the tier of the blue hair swordsman, so now we have Marth. Still think he's a bad character, right? He's just inconsistent. And, you know, he doesn't get kills the way you want him to, and he doesn't, I just think also, like, Lucina, in my opinion, has also got worse since the last tier list. So in my opinion, like, both of them, like, Martha stayed relatively the same, but Lucina has also gone down, so it's not even as big of a gap as it once was. Trust me, they're not going to be as far apart, still quite far apart, but again, Marth's lack of consistency and lack of ability to get tippers on the characters and the players especially, like, the game has got so fast in terms of people move around so frequently and so consistently, so it's very, very hard to track people down accurately and get tippers. Are there specific setups for it? Are there specific, you know, little things that maybe you could do? Yeah, but doing that while also there's like a character that just has good moves running at you is terrifying, and it doesn't really work the way you want it to. And again, you can like get edge guards with this character, but also sometimes you don't get a kill at 170, and like sometimes you get a kill at 65, right? That's really cool, but I would rather consistently get a kill at 100 than sometimes kill at 60 and sometimes kill at 180. We're going from swordy to zoner all the time in this tier, and this next one is not an exception. We're going Duck Hunt. I do believe that, again, I feel like people won't like this. I feel like people for some reason think Duck Hunt is really good because they'll be like, oh my god, what about Big Duck Hunt fan that one time? Again, Brujo won a B tier with mostly K rule. Lost as Kazuya more frequently than the K rule. That's crazy. So results don't necessarily mean your character is going to be super good. But at the same time, Duck Hunt has a lot of stuff, right? You have side B, which is crazy, cam, which is crazy. You have a bunch of setups. You have a really arduous and annoying process to fight this character. But again, the character doesn't really kill, right? Unless you're getting specifically side B forward smash at ledge, you kind of struggle, right? It's pretty easy to avoid the kill setups when it comes to like side B back air, side B up air, or can up air. Like, it's not the most difficult thing to avoid these. And again, you need to have time to set up your stuff. And again, people have gotten so fast and so good at avoiding specific areas in this game. It is insane. So I really think that Duck Hunt, again, good character, I just don't think actually that good. Also, struggles with a lot of reflector characters, struggles with a lot of rushdown characters, and struggles versus better zoners that aren't Samus. Definitely beats Samus. Beats Samus, beats Diddy Kong, which are two really good matchups to have good, but I feel like a lot of the other top tier just kind of shut down this character, especially sword characters. Like, again, I feel like one of the things that I meant to mention actually basically at the beginning of the tier list is it isn't necessarily, oh my god, this character can do such good things, therefore they're broken. Like, in my opinion, at this point, it has been 6 years since the game has come out, basically. And if people and characters aren't doing the super optimal broken stuff, then it doesn't matter. Because, like, yeah, in theory, Link could infinite you forever. No one's doing that, and no one's going to do that. It's simply not going to happen, right? Like, it's never going to be consistent enough. So, like, at this point, I'm much more realistic about, like, oh, theory, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, because people have gotten there have been so many characters that have been pushed to their optimal theory. So if you aren't pushed to your optimal theory at this point, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there, or you'll get there like in 6 months, and I'll be like, hey, I was wrong about this character, and that's basically how it goes. I mentioned that this is going to be the blue hair sword fighter tier, and this is another blue hair sword fighter. If you choose the blue alt, we're going Robin. I think Leaf has been doing very well, right? Like, Leaf has been doing surprisingly well in Japan, has done quite well at a decent amount of tournaments since the last time I made a tier list, but I still think this character's pretty bad. I think that there are a lot of matchups that this character struggles with, but they do damage. They kill. They are annoying. There's a lot of good stuff with this character. I just think, again, basically every character above here has good stuff, and Robin loses your best tools somewhat frequently throughout a game, whether you don't have your Firebook, or you don't have your Thunderbook, or you don't have Levin Sword, and so you basically every like 15 seconds are like, oh, I have to completely rethink my game plan, and that sucks. So I just don't think the character can be higher than that. It has some tricky movement though, has some good stuff, but nothing too insane. How is Sword Fighter this high? Sword Fighter's broken! And my Sword Fighter's broken, I mean, it's right now. Like, Mii Sword Fighter is next. I think Mii Sword Fighter is overall underrated. I do think that, surprisingly, this character is getting more rep. People are playing him more in Japan for some reason. Obviously, Mia plays this character, kind of, like, as a tertiary behind Game & Watch and Steve. So, you know, how often is a Sword Fighter going to come out? I don't know. But there have been, like, more Sword Fighters. You have Luminato also playing Sword Fighter. I think this character is just underrated. I think he has pretty decent tools. The only issue with this character is sometimes he struggles to kill. And if you choose the killing up B, which is Hero Spin, then you have a worse recovery. But also his recovery is pretty good even with Hero Spin, because, you know, your Ike side B is going to be pretty good. Kaninabe plays Sword Fighter. Really? I actually didn't know that. So that is honestly very impressive. I think Sword Fighter, again, doesn't really have any like super bad matchups either. I would say the one actually bad matchup is Rob, but again, that might be different with the movesets, because again, you have the ability to counterpick movesets. You have the ability against certain characters to go Tornado, to go Shuriken, to go the Side B projectile, what is it called? Chakram, thank you. I don't use it, to be fair. That's not the one I use. And again, he has like different good recoveries. He has good out of shield options. He has just like overall solid stuff. He has a good footstool out of shield down B if you're using the down B that is the hero, the thrust, which I feel like everyone uses at this point. But if you need to use a counter on a projectile character, you play the counter, you play the reflect. Like, you have options, right? So he doesn't necessarily lose to a bunch of zoners. He doesn't necessarily lose to, you know, rushdown. He's just overall solid. He just doesn't kill like better characters, and that's kind of it. And speaking of blue hair anime, we have Lucario, blue fern anime. That's close enough, right? But yeah, I think Lucario definitely is not a great character, especially so many people are getting good at just not giving up disadvantages, and they're ledge trapping forever, and they're killing super easy. So like overall, people are getting better at killing. But at the same time, Lucario has very few like actual flaws besides the fact that Aura sucks. Like, he's mobile, he has good aerials, he has a good projectile. His projectile is also a kill confirm. He has a bunch of good stuff that I just feel like it's really hard to deal with as certain characters. Like, and again, if you think Lucario's better, hey, I have a losing matchup or even matchup versus this character, so it is not biased. I hate this matchup. I personally hate this character. It is so annoying to deal with him, but I just don't think he's like super crazy. But at the same time, Gachi P's doing really well. In Japan, I feel like there's a couple of other Lucarios I'm forgetting about at the moment that can attend tournaments. But either way, I do think this character is overall underrated. I think Tsu's been playing him more. I don't know how effectively, though, because I haven't seen Tsu's name in tournament in a long time. But yeah, good movement, you know, and obviously if you don't get those kills, if you do get at a disadvantage, then Aura Lucario is one of the scariest characters in the game. He has a lot of awkward hurtbox shifting, forward smash, command grab. He has good stuff. He has really good stuff. It's just, how often can you play that optimal game? I don't know. Up next, we have a character that literally just won a, I think, B+ tier, question mark, or B tier. I've covered them on the channel before. We talking about Kirby and J-Jaw by extension. This character has been getting scarily good results. The combo game for this character is getting frightening. The disadvantage for this character is surprisingly not as bad as you would expect it to be. I still think you can edge guard this character, but also Kirby's going to edge guard people a little bit more than vice versa, at least in my opinion. I think this character is just kind of threatening. Crouch can be really annoying, has surprisingly decent matchups with a couple top tiers, and again, you can always copy stuff and make it awkward, and again, he also just kills hella early, right? Down tilt trip forward smash, you have back air, you have dash attack, you have two frames, you have down airs, you have back airs off stage, you have, dare ride in general, you have other smash attacks that kill. This character is threatening, but he's still slow and can get camped out, and so if a person is going to commit just like, hey, I'm running from you, Kirby can't really do that much about it, which is the main and like only flaw of this character. Otherwise, he is a very solid kit, but low airspeed means he can get air camped, and people can just jump from platform to platform against you, and also I think the stages aren't great for him because he kind of has to auto-ban, Battlefield and Small Battlefield because his combos don't work sometimes, which means he has to play on like FD against like zoners or, PS2 versus zoners or, good characters that have swords against on like Hollow Bastion and stuff like that, so it can make it a little awkward. We are at the first character that I played for a week, and in my opinion, the worst one, which I was a little bit surprised at this. I thought that I would put him higher, but I was making the tier list and I did not know if I could have it. But yeah, Ridley is down here. I do think Ridley has some crazy, again, this is, I feel like, once we hit like, I feel like if you wanted to put like these characters in low tier, like up till Marth, that's basically what I did last time. I put like 10 characters down in low tier. That's fine. I think Ridley is like a very scary character. It has multiple top 8 at majors, or not multiple top 8, but top 8 recently at a major. This character is scary, has good edge guarding, has solid neutral, a little bit awkward hitbox, a little bit of awkward situations, good out of shield, good killing, kind of heavy but not great. I feel like the advantage and the read potential for this character is terrifying because he's so strong, and the reads, in my opinion, for this character are better than some other stuff, but at the same time, he crumbles to shield pressure that hits the back of his shield a little bit, and again, he's big, so he does get comboed quite hard, and he's not heavy enough to compensate for how much extra damage he's going to take from combos. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna take 80, but I live until 150. It's like, I'm gonna take 75 and die at 100 or 110. What's Banjo doing up there? Dude, Toriguri what do you mean? This next character is probably hurt by my shifting priorities in the tier lists quite a bit because I don't care how theory good your character is. If your character's not doing it, it's not up to it. So we're talking about Lucas. Again, Lucas, in theory, very good. Zair combos, footstool out of shield, Zair combos. This character has crazy damage, good frame data on shield, very terrifying. But at the same time, the people aren't doing it. And they do it very one-off, right? You had like the really good run by Nighthawks 2.5 years ago. And what's his face, the one from North Carolina, got like 13th at that Super Smash Con. Like, the character has some good stuff, has some decent matchups, is really annoying for a good amount of the top tiers, but you just lose to more top tiers. Choco Taco. Like, and there's no disrespect to the players. I think the players of these characters are very good. It's just Lucas is so difficult to like squeeze out every bit of optimization from him. Again, his optimization is some of the hardest in the game, if not the hardest in the game. Like, he's one of the hardest, if not the hardest character in the game, absolutely. But the thing is, even when he does his super optimal stuff, he's like high tier. So when you can't consistently rely on that, and then you're gonna like, the thing is, when you mess up a float from Peach, you're messing up a full hop, you're getting hit, but you have all your resources. When Lucas messes up his Zairs, he doesn't have a double jump anymore. So then you hit him off stage, and then you hit the magnet that he's going to use to turn around to Zair to the ledge, and then you kill him. But also, ledge hop Zair ledge hop Zair is very good from ledge, and it's really hard to deal with. But I just don't think he's good enough. Again, I don't want to play the good Lucas players in tournament, but it's not up to my personal opinion. Well, it is technically up to my personal opinion, but like, I don't view my tier lists strictly off of like, this character does well versus me. Otherwise, Lucas is here and Lucario is here, but that's not how it goes. Going from the PSI kid to the electric kid, we're having Pichu go here. I think Pichu is having a bit of a resurgence, which is a bit odd, considering how frail the character is, but also he kills you. This character kills you. The skill potential of Pichu is terrifying. The edge guarding of this character, Thunder is a thing. There's so many different combo routes with this character. It's getting so intricate. Actually, like, for some reason, there's just like a Labber Pichu, Aza, Indigo. I don't know what their tagger name is at this point. There's so many little things. Pichu's like low-key crazy, but then you play neutral against someone like a Mario and you literally can't do anything. But Pichu, again, we just saw Dryby at the throne. We've had Yone P do very well at a bunch of different tournaments. But it's just like, he's still frail, he's still squishy, and a lot of the times you see Pichus do well, it's because they got good matchups, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, Dryby beat Mars and Shattuck. Those players are amazing, that's crazy, which, like, that is true. But at the same time, Pichu wins those matchups, probably. or at the very least is even, but there are so many matchups that's like, yeah, Pichu's gonna lose that. Like, Pichu's going to lose versus Steve and Mario and Game & Watch and Pac-Man, and, you know, even characters down here, I think, like, Pichu a little bit struggles with, like, Kirby and Lucario, just because, like, they just dump out kill potential. Snake is super bad. There's so many, like, bad matchups for Pichu, and especially a lot of common bad matchups that are bad for Pichu, that it's hard for me to justify putting Pichu higher. But also, don't get hit. Be scared all the time. You gotta be scared. You have to play him like he's the scariest character in the planet, because he kind of is. But when you do that, he becomes, you know, you, like, declaw him, essentially. It sucks. Below Sephiroth, you actually got a spoiler of my tier list. Sephiroth is next. Sephiroth had Big Sword. I still think this character sucks. I still think this is a bad placement for him. I don't remember what it is relative to my old bad placement of him, but I do think Sephiroth is very mediocre, right? He has decent mobility. I mean, he's wing, right? If you don't have wing, this character kind of sucks. He has, like, very mediocre combos, meh damage output. Side B is only good against, like, very specific projectiles, unfortunately mine, right? It's good versus Pikachu T-Jolt and Pichu T-Jolt, actually, but I think the character just has to posture in ways that is, like, so uncomfortable. Low-key Marth's better, like, low-key Marth's better, but I don't want to move a character 10 spots on the tier list, and maybe I'll do it at the very end, but, like, I think Sephiroth is just like Marth, which is bad, except then he has One Wing Angel, which is quite good, because his mobility gets better, and his combos get better, and his, like, kill potential gets better, and his damage output gets better, but, like, low key's kind of not great. Well, again, wing is, like, up here, but when he doesn't have wing, it's bad. So yeah, I made strict comparisons to a different character before this, and we are finishing this Animal Crossing comparison. We're going with Isabelle up here. Jab's crazy. Jab and up tilt are so good for this character, and I've realized how much better those are. Rather, even though Villager can get triple turnips and have, like, technically better killing, Isabelle has consistent killing because you have jab into down smash, jab into up smash out of shield, which is better than Villager's in my opinion because it's faster, I believe. And if I'm wrong about that, then whoops, I'm not gonna double check it because I don't care that much. But yeah, jab and up tilt are crazy. It leads you to get more consistent combos. And up tilt up air just, like, leads to solid disadvantage. Isabelle's down B is more annoying to deal with than Villager side B in my opinion, because Villager side B has way more startup and it won't punish you, and also you're not going to die at 90 when you mess up getting hit by it because you won't get downbeat into up air. But yeah, jab and up tilt are literally just, like, so good for Isabelle, and, like, obviously you have a command grab, you have, like, annoying ledge trapping because of that, with, like, a downbeat, a cover roll, and then you side B, and it can be really annoying. So Isabelle, in my opinion, is a bit better than the last tier list. I'm pretty sure. I think that's like a 5 or 10 spot jump for her. So congrats to Isabelle. You know who also I think got a little bit of a boost is Mewtwo. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember my positions exactly because I don't consult my prior tier lists when making tier lists because that's not as fun. Kevin's been going with Isabelle too. That's what I said earlier. So yeah, we got Mewtwo. This character, people loved when I played Mewtwo for that week. Those people really liked that. People are like, you play Mewtwo now? It's very, very funny to me. But I think Mewtwo, again, he just has some struggles. Because he's big, it's really awkward to position yourself correctly against a meta of everyone just swinging giant hitboxes, and Charge Shot is not enough to make up for it. Again, is tail hitbox that big of a deal? No, it's just the fact that he's tall. Right, like, he's just tall, and he doesn't have a way to get around that. And again, his dash speed is crazy, he has good inherent aerials, but I just feel like he doesn't do quite enough damage to justify his size, right? It's kind of like similar to Ridley, where, like, Ridley doesn't get crazy good combos. You have, like, good reads, you have, like, footstool out of shield stuff with footstool down B or footstool shadow ball, but, like, you have to get very specific hits to get crazy damage with Mewtwo, otherwise you're getting, like, a double up air fair, unless you're getting, like, footstool shadow ball dash, footstool shadow ball dash, footstool down B, blah, 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 you know, like that type of stuff. Which can be pretty difficult to do consistently, because that means you're, like, not shadow balling the same way in neutral. It means that you're not really, like, going for just generic damage of walling out. And again, Mewtwo's big, so when he gets hit, he takes a lot of damage. And in my opinion, doesn't have a good enough disadvantage to make up for it. I think his disadvantage was surprisingly bad from when I played him. I thought it would be better. Maybe I'm just bad with teleport. But I found, I guess, would get hit a lot trying to get a disadvantage, and again, in a meta where people are just advantaging you for an entire stock, you can't have a bad disadvantage in this game, which is honestly why most of these characters are here, except for, like, Lucario. I was expecting Mewtwo to be where Ridley was. Well, Mewtwo has a projectile, which helps. Shadow Ball is very good, and you have a kill throw. Killing is not an issue for Mewtwo. This character kills super consistently with a couple things. Sometimes it can be hard to find those against the very mobile characters, but it's fine. The next two characters are grab, kill, confirm the character. First off, we're going with the Hotness and Monkey Monday recipient toward DK. I think DK is definitely better than where he was before. You know, the DKs are just doing better. You have like the 5 different DKs in Japan doing well, and that's including the fact that Hikaru quit. And then you obviously have Chunky Kong in the United States, who's been doing quite well. I do think this character has a niche of doing good versus specific sword characters like Marth and Lucina, like not Aegis necessarily, not fast fallers, but at the same time, Chunky Kong can be Cosmos, so I don't know. I do think that DK has obviously flaws in the disadvantage, but again, it's kind of a skill check of like, hey, don't mess up, don't get hit by this down B, don't mess up your disadvantage. If not, I'm gonna be back in neutral and I'm gonna cheese you at 30. And like DK is definitely a cheesy mid tier for sure. Like that's the epitome of what he is as a character in terms of grab, up throw, up air. Sorry, grab, F throw, up air. Technically, or you know, trips into punch or tech chases into punch, but also it happens frequently enough that it's kind of fine. But again, DK has some like decent matchups in top tier, and again, it's pretty easy to cheese with this character. But like again, it's cheese, right? You shouldn't be winning. If people just avoid the cheese, it becomes very, very difficult to get those type of things. So yeah, it's a little bit rough. Next up, again, more kill confirms. We have Inkling. I think that Inkling, again, not a great character, but has consistent killing on the matchups that up throw upper works. This character's neutral is very solid. Obviously, you have a good damage output because of your, you know, ink mechanic. I think Splatter Shot is underrated. I think the disadvantage of this character is pretty good because you have B reversing Splatter Shot, and if you aren't, you know, close enough to make Splatter Shot not work, it's just a free landing. Shidayuki or Shiyaruki, I always forget which one it is. If it is Shidayuki or Shiyaruki, I think it's Shidayuki, has been doing absolutely fantastic. Probably the single best results of a character here based on like, this is the top player playing this character. Shidayuki like consistently gets like top 8 or 9th at majors. Like multiple times this season, this year in general, so I can't really justify putting him like lower. Like it's not, at one point I had Inkling here and I was like, you know, like Shidayuki does pretty well. So yeah, just a solid character. Again, not crazy. You're not gonna like cheese people with Inkling. You have to definitely beat people with Inkling like fairly consistently. But again, you have solid matchups in top tier. I feel like your matchup with Snake is fairly good. Your matchup with, you know, Joker and Bale are probably pretty decent as well because you just get solid damage and you can like punish with Roller on a lot of their stuff. You know, Inkling Joker has always been kind of hard for Joker. So yeah, I mean, decent matchups in the top tier. Not great matchups. Definitely gonna lose to Steve and Game & Watch and stuff. But you know, I feel like overall this character has the tools to win. You just have to make them work. Shidayuki went to an event a bit ago. He just got 33rd, like 33rd, 17th recently. But again, 7th at a major, literally in August, 9th at a B tier. Like he's still at like 2nd at a major, 5th at an almost super major. Like this character has the results, especially like overall this year for sure. So it's hard for me to justify putting Inkling lower than this simply because like the character's results are very good. Up next is a character that definitely doesn't have the results as of late, but it's really hard for me to justify Bowser being down here. So we got Bowser. The main thing that is better about Bowser than DK is out of shield options and 2 framing. The flame breath of this character is just good. Up out of shield is going to be fantastic. You have heavy armor on all your tilts. You have good anti-airs. You have solid damage overall. And then of course you have crazy killing. You have some of the best consistent 2 frames in the game with forward tilt and flame breath. You know, I do think that this character has dropped off overall. Definitely, you know, Bowser used to be in high tier, and now it's just like, hey, you're gonna get hit by a bunch of characters and die. Like, there's plenty of characters that just absolutely destroy Bowser, but those characters also destroy every other heavy character, so I don't find it to be that crazy that Bowser's here. I just think he has, like, he just needs less hits, I feel like, overall, than to, like, so many other characters. It is honestly crazy. Like, kind of sucks. But also, sometimes all these characters kind of suck. Like, they all have flaws. And again, Bowser, similar to DK, is a check of just like, hey, did you mess up? Don't get shield broken. Don't mess up your down air. Hey, you're off stage. Hope you change your recoveries. Don't get F tilted in 65. Hello, like you're gonna lose. That's a 2 stock. And like this kind of happens. And for the final character of mid tier, we have quite the fall from grace. Unlike the games that he is from, we are going with Link. Tears of the Kingdom might have been fire, but this character is not. This character is, again, similar to what I said, you know, earlier in this video. If you aren't doing your optimal stuff at this point, you're not going to. And if people suddenly do, then hey, my bad, I was wrong. But it's been 6 years. How long can you deal with, oh, but you can just infinite people, you can just do all this crazy stuff. When no player is doing it. No player is doing well enough results-wise, no player is doing well enough, you know, tech-wise for me to just be like, wow, but if they like get a good bracket run, like no. Link kind of sucks. He has an amazing moveset, right? Nair's really good, up tilt's really good, boomerang's really good, dash attack sucks. He has like solid moves, good aerials overall, has a bunch of really good stuff, but it doesn't matter if you're not doing the crazy good stuff. He's not a good enough character that you can just avoid that. Like, this isn't 2019. You can't just nair people and expect to win. When you get nair, grab, up tilt, you're done. You need more, and none of the links get more, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's kind of like Mewtwo, where like he'll have good tools and stuff, but like it doesn't feel like a solid overall kit. So you just end up gearing towards like, I'm gonna use more bomb, and then you like aren't nairing enough, so people just like run at you and it's scary. Or you're like, I'm gonna do a bunch of bomb stuff, and then like you're not using your moves. I don't remember if I said the same thing twice, but whoops, I don't care. Link has better results in melee than ultimate. Yeah, that's crazy. And there's one guy using Link for one matchup, and it's still somehow better results. We actually thought Link's nair was so OP. To be fair, it is. It's like a top 5 nair in the game. It's just one move doesn't matter because it's also not like a combo move that combos into itself. Like, it's not Game & Watch nair, you know? And that's gonna be it for the mid-tier. Now we're going into the upper mid tier, and we are starting with a CFL Brethren's character. We're talking about Bowser Jr., and of course the Bowser Jr. I'm mentioning is Zap. Bowser Jr. has always had decent results, right? It was always a character that to me felt like an anomaly of results. But again, it's one of those characters, he's probably the which is one of the characters that's just like, hey, this is a skill check. Do you know how to deal with all of 17 of my gimmicks? But they're pretty solid gimmicks, and they kind of rotate on each other. And then if you don't, he's gonna kill you really fast because he has good damage output, right? He has good grab combos, especially with super low percents. He has solid edge trapping. It's really hard. Like, honestly, one of the things that like I've realized was so good about this character is his disadvantage is one of the best in the game, low key. Like, not like a super elite disadvantage, but it's definitely like a super elite recovery. And so when you aren't just like offstage dying randomly, you evolve, in my opinion, from a mid tier, considering he also like forward smash 2 frames you, down tilt 2 frames you. Like, his projectiles are annoying even if they're not great. So he has like a lot of annoyingly decent tools, and then doesn't explode like almost all of these characters do in disadvantage. Like, Diki has so many good tools. You hit him and he dies. Inkling doesn't kill you. Bowser kind of dies. Link sometimes kind of dies, you know, but Bowser Jr. has a good disadvantage, and you know, this is one of the things that's like, well, like some like really good players that like are solid at the Bowser Jr. matchup are losing, right? Like Louis Money losing to Zap, in my opinion, was indicative of like, maybe this character's a little bit better because Louis Money has a lot of Bowser Jr. experience because of all the Bowser Jr.'s in California, and yet Zap was still able to win. Like, he just does a lot of damage, and like doing a lot of damage into F Smash 2 frame or like F Smash neutral get up read is really, really scary. And again, if you mess up a little thing or you guess a couple times wrong, Bowser Jr. is suddenly going to have a lead, and it's going to snowball because his defensive play is quite difficult to deal with. Speaking of defensive play difficult to deal with, and definitely an ascension for a lot of people for this character, we talking Banjo and Kazooie, and of course the player that is showing off this is going to be Toriguri. Crazy guy. He's so good at this game, and it is insane to me that he is making this character work as consistently as he is. Of course, like, not necessarily making every top 8 at majors, but he's still top 8ing and doing well enough that I think he deserves to be up here, right? It's really hard to edge guard him. It's really hard to edge trap him. Wonder Wing, again, just being able to be like, hey, you're not ledge trap, or you're not trying to 2-frame me, you don't get to do that, I'm just gonna be back, is really, really nice, because so many characters are just like, I'm gonna hit you off stage, and then 45%, cool. That was fine, but Banjo doesn't have to deal with that. In fact, Banjo's the one that does it to characters. He has really good 2-framing, he has solid kill confirms, because a lot of the Banjos have gotten better with like their Breagle Blaster confirms, whether it's Breagle Blaster side B, Breagle Blaster up tilt, forward air, back air. Obviously, Hwampi in the US also does well with this guy. I know Hwampi also plays Palu, but overall solid results for this character, and it's really hard to just ignore what the character's strengths are unless you have a character that has a really good matchup with him, which I think I do with my two characters. But at the same time, a lot of players and characters are struggling to deal with the camping and, you know, throwing an item toss down a disadvantage, and just the disadvantage in general is quite solid against a lot of characters, and then his advantage is strong and he can randomly kill you at 60. Sounds like a good character to me. And of course, gonna keep on theme with the characters that randomly kill you at 60, we have Incineroar. I do think Incineroar is still solid. Counter being frame 3 and giving you a bunch, like way more than a normal counter does, is very nice because it means your disadvantage is inherently going to be a bit better. His recovery, while exploitable, sometimes you die at 0, so it can be scary. And of course, when he gets you in the corner, he's terrifying. His arrows are very good, his reversals are very good, and then he side Bs, and then he nay-nays. A Alolan whip, Alolan nay. So he just does solid. He's solid damage. Again, he has some really bad matchups, right? Like Mario Incineroar is like unwinnable. Steve Incineroar seems very bad, but you know, there are so many viable characters in this game that you can't say, oh, you're just going to run into these guys. Like, maybe you will in the top 8 when you're running into a Sonic player because it's Sonic and there's going to be Sonics or Wrath or Ken or something in top 8. But at the same time, somehow Sonic versus Incineroar is not the worst matchup in the game. Again, like, Incineroar is just one of those characters that's just like, hey, do everything perfect or he's going to blow you up. And in my opinion, in this day and age, that's a character that has more weight than a lot of the characters. It's like, play perfect and I'll never get hit, unless it's been shown that those characters cannot get hit. Like, that's why I think like these type of characters, Bowser Jr., Banjo, and Sin, DK, are like rising, whereas in my opinion a character like Sheik is falling. Sheik still has a lot of good stuff, and that's why she's not on the list yet. But, you know, in my opinion, that kind of that shift has happened. This is still, in my opinion, one of the most underrated characters in the game. For some reason, there's like none in Japan, and the results currently are being held by Xavier, and we are talking about Wii Fit Trainer. I just don't, like, this is one of the characters that's like still kind of theory for me, but I don't see why this character is not doing better. You have mediocre out of shield options, admittedly, but you have like annoying camping, you have good ledge options, you have a decent recovery, you have decent edge guarding, you have one of the best single moves in the game in terms of deep breathing because it's just a buff, suddenly become God. The damage output of this character is insane. The killing for this character is quite good. I really think like the biggest issue is they don't have a good out of shield option, but they can just like parry F tilt or parry up tilt. Up tilt is also just so good, and like you get like parry up tilt into up air. You just, the advantage for this character is terrifying, and then you have an invincible up smash that's super fast for no reason. Not personally my bias, because Pikachu Wii Fit is like unplayable matchup. It's one of the 2 matchups that's like, this is really bad, which is Pikachu and Game & Watch. But like, I don't see why this character's not doing better. I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand. Like, it must be player diff, even though Xavier is really, really good, and I think got like 2nd at a regional recently in NorCal, like only losing to Louis Money, who just got 3rd at Dome Park, which is pretty good. Like, it's a pretty good person to lose to. Up next is a character that's basically a one-man army in terms of, you know, major results, but there's a couple more creeping along. We're talking about Mii Gunner. The main Mii Gunner, of course, Capitancito, very, very strong. Very good wins, very consistent player. He doesn't go to a ton, but he's still very good when he goes. He's got like top 8 at level up expo, I'm pretty sure. He still does well versus Sonics. I think he won the tournament in Puerto Rico recently. But at the same time, Lammers from SoCal is pretty good, kind of like not runs the region, but is like top 5 in the region now, kind of like out of nowhere. I do think this character is overall quite good, has some decent matchups in top tier. Again, decent matchup versus Sonic, decent matchup versus Peach, decent matchup versus, I know there was one more that I forget what it was. Oh yeah, the other character is Snake. So like has decent matchups in the top tier. You can always kind of come back because this character's ledge trapping is really strong. I think the biggest issue with this character is they don't really kill unless you're getting hit by like up tilt or up smash or back air or down smash, which means you're not really struggling to kill. That was a joke, by the way. But at the same time, like I just feel that Mii Gunner overall is pretty solid. Not the best character, definitely not the best Mii, but overall a very solid pick. And I don't know what like super bad matchups the character has, because also Capitancito's like beat Meister before, so I would think Game Watch is a bad matchup. I'm assuming like Aegis is quite bad, but I don't know if Capitancito's played someone like Cosmos or Shutone. But yeah, I don't quite understand what is keeping this character from being higher. Speaking of a character that for a while had something preventing them from being higher, which was the solo representation from Dabuz, but now there have been more Rosas doing quite well, especially in Japan. So we're talking about Rosa, Lina, and Luma. There have been enough Rosas in Japan doing well that I can't say the character is bad anymore, right? You have Yuzu and you have Ocha, which are getting wins on some very strong players like Raru, and I believe also beat Meister. Granted, those are very good matchups, but that's the thing. Rosa does well into a good amount of the meta characters, right? You do decent versus Sonic, you beat Game & Watch, you do well versus Luigi, you do well versus Samus. Those are a lot of meta characters can do well versus Pac-Man and Diddy Kong. Like, it's really scary. The biggest issue with Rosa is she struggles as a whole with the archetype of fast swords and fast characters in general, which are a good amount of the meta, right? There are a ton of Roy players, Cloud is super hard, and Fox is really bad, and that's a lot of characters and a lot of players. But I do think that overall this character is just like getting better. I think that the Rosas are getting better at advantage. I think it's really, really hard to hit her. But again, the reason that they're in the same tier is Rosa's really good if you play perfect and never let someone in and are aware of all of your setups, whereas these characters like accidentally stumble upon a kill and kill you with 65. But also Rosa has, you know, the dash tech thing into forward smash, which is pretty good. So yeah, Rosa is quite the good character. Again, not high tier, but I think a little bit higher than my last tier list for sure, because it's not just Dabuz anymore. We are dipping our toes into the fighting game characters now. Our first one going to be Ken. Low-key, Ken's worse than Rosa. I don't really know the results of this character other than Jazzo. I don't think Andres FN plays Ken anymore. I think he's like strictly a Terry main at this point. But Jazzo does quite well with this character. The character's fast, is annoying, has decent combos. The problem with Ken, in comparison to all the other FGC characters, is he's not consistent at killing. You can fall out of Shoryu, which is your main kill move. which can be a problem because you're going to go for this big read and this big thing, and then your opponent's going to fall out of it and you're not going to kill him. Recovery is also a bit painful because a lot of characters can just keep him in disadvantage, keep him off stage, which can be a struggle. Again, juggling vertical, not necessarily a problem depending on the matchup, because if they don't have multi-hits, then you do get to focus through them, and you can damage output's crazy, auto turnaround's crazy. The parry game is some of the best in the game because you get parry down tilt Shoryu, parry down tilt roundhouse. There's a lot of good stuff that this character does. Again, at this point, these are good characters that just like aren't the crazy characters. So yeah, he's definitely, I think, the worst FGC. Also has by far the worst results of the FGC characters. But he's still solid, right? This is still like a scary pick. Speaking of characters that do a lot of damage and are a bit more niche, we are going with Meta Knight. We have obviously seen a bit more of Meta Knight as we have MK Leo playing the character. But, you know, there have always been good Meta Knights, right? You have Sho from NorCal or New York. I forget which one he lives in at the moment. You had Abadongo before. You had Mitara's Meta Knight. Like, there have always been a couple decent Meta Knights. But yeah, this character does fine, right? Has good edge guarding. The ladder combos are scary against a lot of characters. Like, every floaty character can be terrifying. He doesn't really get disadvantaged super hard. Again, I personally struggle to get a disadvantage with him, but I think overall, the character does fine. And again, like, hit people up, but keep them at disadvantage. Up air, up B, kill at 80. That's pretty good. His movement is also annoying. He has forward smash. He has like solid killing overall. He has up smash out of shield. Sometimes the character can struggle against specific matchups. I think that there are a good amount of like difficult matchups for Meta Knight, but at the same time, it's like, hey, it's a difficult matchup. Oops, I got the hit. I killed you. So yeah, I mean, he's probably the best counterpick character in the game, or the second best counterpick character in the game behind Min Min. Just overall solid against a ton of characters. Doesn't do great versus every character, but even again, in a lot of those matchups, you can still get that hit and get that edge guard. We had a round Puffball. We're staying with round Puffball. Speaking of touch of death characters, we got Jigglypuff. I think Jigglypuff is still one of the more underrated characters in the game. I don't even care how well Base Mage is doing at this point. I think it's fine, but this character is just terrifying. Has, you know, top 3 edge guarding at worst in the game, in my opinion. Has very solid damage on stage. You have a bunch of rest confirms. The Puffs learned that you can do rising up air rest if you get the specifically good hitboxes with rest, which is terrifying. That's really scary. Obviously, the main flaw of this character is they are very light, but like, you're killing people at such a ridiculous percent that yes, in certain matchups it can be very hard, right? Like, good luck fighting Spargo if you play a Puff and you're any single person in the game, but like, there are enough matchups that Puff does fine enough at that it doesn't really matter, and you can always make a comeback because you got an edge guard or you got a rest. This character is never out of the game ever, and we've seen that with Base Mage getting top 8 of Battle BC. I forget who they were playing, but they got like 2 edge guards when they were down like 3 stocks to 1. So Base Mage, really good player. You know, shoutouts to Amok as well, the content creator. Just fun to watch. This character's always been fun to watch. It will always be fun to watch because that's just how Puff is. Very scary character that you always have to be worried about, basically at all times. Like, you have to camp this character. Very few characters can just straight up fight this character. Even if you're fighting this character, you're like fighting with like moving backwards slightly. So yeah, it's really scary. How are Ice Climbers not on here yet? Once again, this has got predicted immediately. This is Ice Climbers. They're up here. Again, they are a character that has some very polarizing matchups, quite bad matchups like Snake and Pac-Man and the Belmonts, and Steve is really bad. There are a couple of characters that are bad otherwise, but those are the main ones that Min Min is also very bad. But at the same time, they beat a lot of meta characters, right? They like do well versus Game & Watch. They do well versus Fox and Brawler, even though in my opinion Brawler wins that, but that's okay. Does well versus like a good amount of the meta. If you are a close quarter combat character, Ice Climbers is scary. They do so much damage. Their grab is very threatening. They have a bunch of setups. They have a bunch of shield break stuff. There's just so many intricacies of this character, which I understand a lot of them personally, but that doesn't mean the character isn't good, right? Obviously, you can get neutered with this character if Nana dies, but at the same time, Sopo is fine. You have decent edge guarding. You have really good 2-frames. This character just has setups on setups on setups on setups, and it is very difficult to just be super confident versus the character, because if they have a setup or a thing that you don't understand, then suddenly your entire game plan is going to shift, which can be very threatening. Big D has done so well this year, and I feel like Futari no Kimoami has overall been doing very well. I think there was also Sin's Ices that I covered recently, just doing a couple of little different things, and suddenly the matchup becomes drastically different, and the counterplay that you have to do is really scary. But yeah, I think, like, obviously has some very good matchups, has some very bad matchups, so that's why they're here, because they can win any matchup, but like, it's hard. This character continues to slide down my tier list as the best player. This character no longer really plays him, and we are talking about one of the best players in the world, MK Leo. We're talking Byleth. This character just continues to get a little bit worse in my opinion. I think this is more like the correct position for Byleth. Yes, again, at this point, Byleth can win. You're going to see Byleth's cheese games with up B and back air and, you know, downers and shield breaks. This character still has a lot of good stuff. So many characters in this tier have really good stuff. But in my opinion, character's too slow. Character has too bad of a disadvantage. It's not good enough to, like, the ledge play isn't good enough. The disadvantage of this character isn't good enough. And the combos of this character aren't good enough. You have some stuff, right? You have, like, something into, like, you know, landing up air into up B, whatever. And that's kind of it. So if you stay center in those, you're not gonna die. And this character has, like, kill stuff, but at the same time, a lot of it relies on not knowing how to deal with Nair effectively, and, you know, getting shield breaks. Like, even when Leo was doing well, right, like when he was winning everything with Byleth, he was getting, like, multiple shield breaks a set, or, like, the craziest confirms that, like, almost shouldn't work. Like, people didn't know how to DI correct, because now people, like, DI down and away or down and in, which can be quite difficult. I do think that Byleth has some decent matchups, right? Obviously, I think does pretty well versus Roy because you just get to edgeguard that character for free. The edgeguarding of the character when you have the ability to run off stage and get an uppy is very scary. But yeah, Byleth can be terrifying, but I just think is a little too slow and a little too for being higher in this meta. And again, the best player of the character genuinely not believing in them as a character can be rough. Kind of the opposite of a slow sword character is a fast CQC character that has actually pretty decent results that I feel like people are sleeping on because it's not fatality anymore. We're talking about Captain Falcon. Jogibu and Karaage from Japan are very strong and very good and have very good results. Game Watch does struggle with a couple matchups, very specifically Steve and Game & Watch in my opinion are quite rough, but this character blows people up, right? The close quarter combat of this character, the CQC, is quite strong. The combos is crazy. Good out of shield options because you have footstool down B, you also have up B. The recovery is not as bad as people think. He's just able to do a lot. He gets so many kill confirms off of random hits like Nair 1s or up airs or even like Nair 2s or dash attacks. He has a great grab. He has an approaching armor move that is a combo starter that can combo directly into knee or it can combo into double up air when you land on platform into knee. This character is crazy. I think this character is so underrated overall, even though I do think this is lower on my tier list than previous tier lists. I think maybe in other tier lists I had him high tier. I just think he's crazy. I think he's insane and he has pretty solid results overall. Again, they are in Japan, right? And because I don't remember how well Andrik from Mexico is doing. I haven't been keeping up with that scene enough in my opinion, but so I don't know how well he's doing, but I think this character's terrifying. You want to see in the upper mid tier? To be fair, he is. There is only 3 characters left in upper mid tier. What's the most loaded tier? Top tier. Top tier is the biggest tier. It has 21 characters. I have to admit it, my former teammate Mars was right. Zero Suit sucks. Zero Suit is next in my opinion. It is very funny. She has such a good matchup with literally 2 of the best characters in the game, with Steve and Game & Watch, and she does so poorly versus so many other characters. It is ridiculous. This character does not do damage. This character cannot effectively ledge trap. This character can't effectively keep people in the air because it is too much of a commitment to jump and get up airs. It's actually insanely difficult to be consistent with this character, and with the matchups that Zero Suit wins, it's because she can just run away, and it is very difficult. I also think she does well versus Snake. So like I don't have Snake in top 5, but 3 of the top 5 in most people's lists, Zero Suit is fine versus, and like Rob is always a matchup that is like weirdly contested, but I don't know how well it is. And also does well versus Samus. So like Zero Suit has some like weirdly good matchups, but when she does well in matchups, it's because she just doesn't get hit, and then is slowly chipping you with 8 to 12 to 14%. And then the top tiers are being like, oh, I accidentally dealt 75, and then I got you off stage, time to ledge trap. But Zero Suit's ledge trapping is bad, right? Like Zero Suit's ledge trapping relies purely on reads. There is no reaction ledge trapping with this character because you don't have a good enough move to cover ledge jump ever. It is just a guess with back air. Like it is scary to be on ledge because if they are right, they're going to down smash you and kill you, but they're not getting those reads that is, you know, suddenly, oh, you're just screwed. And again, like up air doesn't do enough damage that it is super threatening as Zero Suit. Again, her disadvantage is one of the better ones in the game, so she's not taking a ton of damage, but just relatively, she's going to be overall taking so much more damage than most of her opponents. Again, his upper mid tier because she's super fast and annoying, and like can edge guard sometimes certain characters, but like this character's a struggle, man. Like every time I watch Mars recently, even when he's winning, right? Like, he had his crazy SmashCon run. He's hard out playing people so consistently. Granted, Zero Suit, again, good matchups because he was Samus and Steve and Game & Watch, which is a pretty good bracket for Zero Suit. But like, the thing is, I feel like Zero Suit has become a character that you need a good bracket to succeed with, which is why Mars is a very up and down player. It's not because like, oh, Mars is bad, and like sometimes he's bad and sometimes he's good. It's like, no, you just lose to characters like Fox and Aegis and so many characters that just jump at you and are superior, like Sonic and Palu, and like, there's so many characters that Zero Suit just struggles with so hard. And then it's like, oh, but also short characters and also characters that can edge. Like, there's so many matchups that are just so annoying for Zero Suit. I don't think there's any top player that thinks Zero Suit is better than Samus at this point, and if they are delusional or play Snake. Like, I've thought Samus is better than Zero Suit since like 2021. From a character that does no damage to a character that does a surprising amount of damage randomly, but is just, again, something's just missing with this character, and I still don't exactly know what it is. It is Young Link. Something's going wrong with this character. I don't know if it's the ability to kill. I don't know if it's, you know, the Z-drops aren't as good. I don't know what it is, but Young Link, for some reason, has all the tools to be one of the best characters in the game, and then isn't. And I don't know why. I genuinely don't understand why the Young Link players aren't winning everything. I don't know what matchups are super bad. I don't understand what is wrong with this character that they aren't just winning everything. Not winning everything, but like, you know, doing crazy well. Like, the Young Link players like get upsets here and there. You know, Suinoko does well, and then I forget Lemon A, I think is a Young Link from Japan who does like decent and he'll get like an upset. But like, they're not top 8ing. I don't know why. I genuinely don't understand why. Like, I don't get the character because I feel like his disadvantage is fine because he can just pull a bomb and then throw it down and then drift behind it. Maybe it's his recovery. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to remove my Pika bias because I personally edgeguard the character, but I know that that's not just like every character. So I don't get it. I really don't understand. This character, again, is one of the characters that gets, you know, lowered from, yeah, they aren't doing it yet, so I'm not just going to say, in theory, all these things are really good about them. So Young Link is here because, in theory, he should be broken, and then they're not. Like, I don't know if he's too complex or not simple enough, or I don't know what it is, but Young Link is down here. And this is going to piss a lot of people off. I am someone that does not believe in this character overall. I do think she's very overrated, has a lot of good stuff, but is overrated. Chat, who do you think it is? No, not Aegis. No, not Peach. Y'all are crazy. Those characters are broken. What do you mean? We are talking about Sheik. Sheik is one of those characters that is theory super broken, but you have to be so on point when you play this character because she is a light, frail character that puts her body in your face, kind of like Zero Suit in that regard, except Zero Suit has Zair, but you have Needles as Sheik. I think that Sheik is very difficult of a character to play. I think that she struggles versus a lot of the meta because a lot of the meta is just, hey, I'm just going to throw this giant move out. Right? Again, I'm not going to say Sheik struggles to do damage and get kills because she doesn't necessarily, because you have things like Raindrop, you have crazy combos, you have footstool downers and stuff. Like, there are so many tools that Sheik has, but hit them every time. It's not happening yet. Again, I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to see that Sheik is great because I love watching this character. I think she's super fun to watch overall, but the best Sheik right now, WebJP, is doing fine. Again, not as an insult, right? Like, he's a perfectly good player. He's very strong, but they're not doing enough, and the Sheiks in Japan aren't doing enough, and Mr. R, I don't know how often he goes to tournaments or plays Sheik anymore because I don't know, he just decides to go Crom. I just think this character doesn't have the results and doesn't have the matchup spread overall. Like, again, does well versus like Roy versus Fox maybe, but like so many of these characters are just like, oh, I got you on the ledge and then I killed you. And like the problem with Sheik is she doesn't win by traditional advantage states in Smash Ultimate specifically. She's not juggling you forever. She's not ledge trapping and killing you. The only way to get a kill off of a ledge trap with Sheik is like Nair bouncing fish. So just don't neutral get up and you're probably going to be fine. And Sheik's not a juggling character because up air doesn't work that way, right? She's not just gonna be like, okay, cool, you took 60. Because also like each individual move doesn't necessarily do a lot of damage. So she's not good at slowly racking up damage like that. She gets like 50 off her combo and then like 25 off another combo. And then if you just like if you avoid the kill setup, she doesn't have raw kill moves, especially if you are ready for like needles to bouncing fish and stuff like that. And that's the main issue is Sheik doesn't have if Sheik's back air was as strong as melee Sheik back air, she would be top 3. Easy, but she's a light character that has to put herself in bad situations to get kills, or she's gonna time you out forever. But again, timeouts are really scary. Coming from someone that, you know, plays a light character, timing someone out when you're a light character is very scary because you slowly are racking up damage as people overextend into you. You get them at 150 and you're at 60 and then you die with 12 seconds left because you got two-framed, because you tried to close out the game before because you thought they would go for a weird edge guard, and then you got Sonic forward smash. Sorry. High tier. These, of course, become the very scary tournament characters that are consistently high-level threats at most of the majors that you will see going on, and let's get started. The first character in high tier is the top of the Triforce. Literally, I think the highest Zelda character, right? Because Zelda and Sheik and Ganon are all gone. So we have Toon Link. Level 1 is really good at this game. I think the consistency of this character at just being solid proves that, you know, even though like Young Link can do crazy stuff, you don't need to do crazy stuff when you can just do up tilt, up tilt, up tilt, up smash, bomb, back air, up B, bomb, fair. You don't need to do anything crazy with this character, which means it is very hard to make mistakes with this character because you can just play a very simple, solid game, kills so consistently, good edge guarding, annoying to approach, good out of shield options with up B and Z drop bomb and throw bomb, just so consistent overall. And level 1 has been proving that, hey, that's all I need. I don't need to do crazy combos. I don't need to do the scariest stuff imaginable. Also, I like Spritzy's Toon Link as well from the US. Very, very clever character, or clever player. I love fighting him. But yeah, I think that Toon Link has just been solid, right? And it's hard to ignore the gap in results. And again, there are a lot of good players that play Young Link. So it's not like, oh, level 1's just so much better than them. It's like he's better than them now because he gets the results because Toon Link's probably better. At least in current meta, you know what I'm saying? This character might be one of the biggest demotions of this tier list, and it is a character that has very few results because all the Pokemon trainers, all the players of this character stopped playing them except for one in Japan who is a dual main with Olimar, and we are talking Pokemon Trainer. I don't quite understand why Pokemon Trainer is doing worse, but I kind of do at the same time. I feel like Pokemon Trainer is linear, very good linear, but each of the Pokemon are just a little bit too obvious. Charizard has gotten worse overall in meta. I think Squirtle is too risky because so many characters just do like too much damage to like really be super threatened by him in neutral, because no matter how much damage Squirtle is going to do, a lot of top tiers, like the character's better than Pokemon Trainer, they're just going to do more damage. The biggest problem with Pokemon Trainer is actually the fact that as people have got better at advantage states, whether it's ledge trapping or juggling, the three characters all struggle with that. None of those characters are good at getting off the ledge. None of those characters are good at getting down. And they have a frame 1 swap, which is quite nice, but it keeps them in place. So it's not like an Aegis swap where you're invincible and then continue to fall. It's really rough for this character to get out of disadvantage like consistently versus basically every single top tier, which is just a bad time. Next up is a character that I personally hate, and there's a lot of good reason for it. And again, we're in high tier now, so I don't have to be like, but this character's like not that good, or blah, blah, blah. Like, these characters are all broken. Ness is up here. I think this character is insane. Obviously has some pretty bad matchups. I know does very poorly versus Game & Watch very specifically in this top tier. This character is crazy. So much damage, amazing hitboxes, great two-framing, a lot of results. Also, I feel like Ness is one of the most consistently good results characters. Like, not with like winning everything, but there's just a lot of Ness reps because you have obviously Gact, Atata, Send are the main three that I think of, and I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting because I always forget people off the top of my head. But yeah, I think this character is insane. I think, you know, is always capable of winning because you have PK Thunder, you have crazy combos. Oh yeah, Ness Boy from NorCal is insane. Has gotten so many big upsets with this character because Ness is also one of the most technical, like Ness is just a better version of Lucas. And I know I'm not saying that because they're from the same franchise, but like Lucas is a character that is like, so, you know, I have to be so technical and I have to do so many amazing things and then I get like 13%, and Ness is just like, I'll murder you and your family because I know how to multi-mag. Like, it's crazy how much damage and how scary this character is when you know what to do. Like, when you get into footstool stuff, when you're getting the PK fire chains on certain characters, when you're doing, like, footstool magnet across, like, you know, at the edge of the... It's so stupid. This character's insane. He has infinites! And then he's high tier because welcome to Smash Ultimate. You have infinites or high tier because they're hard. Oh yeah, Syrup's Nest. I forgot that because I think of Syrup as a Steve player at this point. But yeah, it's crazy. Next up is Greninja. We're going back into the Pokemon, and hey, this might be slightly higher than the last time I put Greninja, right, chat? Greninja does pretty good in certain matchups. Tarek's been doing really well this year, actually. You know, beating Ikola at the pre-local of Supernova is obviously going to be fantastic. High mobility character. Again, the only reason I put Greninja here and not higher, like the upper end of this tier, is simply because sometimes his moves don't function. Up air just drops, back air drops, and I've seen too many sets and like, not necessarily like immediately losing, like, oh, the up air dropped and then he immediately got hit and died, or like got hit in disadvantage. But the thing is, what happens a lot as Greninja is you don't get a kill you're supposed to. Something doesn't work. Up smash doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Oh, you would literally have, who was it? The Ice Knight literally like beat Leo, but his up smash didn't work, and then he lost the set. Like I think it would have gone up 2-0, and he lost. He ended up losing game 5, or maybe he would have like 3-0'd him, and he lost game 5. Got reverse 3-0'd. That just happens with the character. It's so insane, right? He has great mobility, not great out of shield, but he has footstool downer, which is fine. He has solid combos overall. It's just sometimes his moves don't work, and it's really, really sad when that happens. It's really sad when that happens, but it happens not like it's not. Oh, like sometimes it's weird. It's like it's weird as often as it is good, which is bad. So yeah, I can't justify putting Greninja here when he simply like doesn't work some of the times. Speaking of the work some of the times, you know who's been putting in work? Peanut, and you know who we're talking about? Mega Man. I think this character is such a treat to watch. Peanut is still right. Peanut is legitimately right now in my top 3 players to watch because he views the game from such a problem-solving aspect, and it is gorgeous. And it is like such the most high-level brain blast stuff, and I love it. Peanut is one of my favorite players, and Mega Man just has all the tools that can make him work, and then he has things like Leaf Shield and Downer, which are just crazy. I just think he's so cool. I find him to be such an interesting character. He doesn't have blatantly overwhelming tools for the most part, right? He's not just being like, oh, this is my good move. All right, he's not that type of character, but he has enough intricacies and enough little things that things just work. And then he has Metal Blade combos, and then he has down air chains, and he has good edge guarding, and he has like rush camping, and there's so many interesting things with this character. And just like, yeah, like him versus, like Peanut versus Mia is like one of my favorite ultimate sets of all time, if not period, like ever. It's such an amazing set, and can't be without Mega Man. From a character incredibly complex in counterplay to a character that has one very simple, strong game plan, we're going with Falco. Keeping with the blue theme here, Falco has gotten a lot of stocks. He's gotten a lot of stocks recently. His stocks are up. There are so many good Falco players. You have obviously Tilde when he goes to things. You have Masa. You have Matsunabe, you have Darikusu play the character. There are so many good Falco players, and he's a very simple character. He just does a lot of damage. He simply just hits you super hard. And he has a very normal, simple kill confirm in terms of up tilt back air, or in terms of fair drag down down tilt, or on platform up throw up air. The only problem is Falco isn't fast enough on the ground to really create a ton of mix-ups, so he ends up becoming a like whiff punishy type character, and then like suddenly bursts in with side B and stuff. But I just think Falco is super strong overall. I just think he doesn't quite do well enough against enough of the top tier characters to like put him higher than this, but he's also terrifying. Sometimes he just hits you and kills you, so I don't know. And we're staying in the same franchise now, probably one of the also bigger demotions of my lists. We're talking about Wolf. It's very funny because I think Wolf is very similar to Mega Man, whereas these two characters really have to play against the opponent's character. Wolf has some good tools, right? He has great mobility, he has frame 2 air dodge, he has fair bear, he has back air in general, he has back air in general, he has back air in general, he has a reflector, but I just think Wolf in today's meta just has to do too much. Like there are so many characters that just dump out their damage and dump out their game plans, and Wolf has to like perfectly slide around all of them. It's possible, right? It's very possible. We've seen Ouch do well. I don't think there are any super good Wolves in Japan at the moment. And then of course you have Orion in Europe. Those are the main, and like Jackal is good, as well as Danny has been doing better I believe he's from Tennessee, now lives in Texas for college. But I just think that like Wolf is a little bit too hard to be like super top tier. Again, I do think when it works, he looks broken. But when every character works from like upper mid tier higher, they look broken. Like, have you seen a good Donkey Kong game, a good Puff game? They look like absurdly broken, crazy characters. And Wolf is one of those, but I just think it's a little bit too hard. Up next is one of those characters that to me is a very strong character that is theory absurdly broken. They're not doing it, so I'm not gonna count it anymore. We're talking about Sora. Sora, in theory, zero Detsu. And there have been a couple of tournaments where we have seen that. We've seen Rarkior get some crazy combos on people like Gluto, but it doesn't happen enough. He gets some decent combos. He does a ton of damage output. His projectiles are a little annoying. He can edge guard you, but it's simply not the brokenness that everyone thought he was, right? I mean, again, he is broken. Like objectively, he is insane, but you have to hit it. Good luck, and then no one hits it, so it doesn't matter. Like, no one does the crazy broken stuff anymore. Or not anymore, but they never really did. They have like a tournament, 2 tournaments of it, and then it just doesn't work. I do think this character is insane. Obviously, if Kamame was going to more things, we would see better results from this character, but it's not even like Kamame beats people by outplaying them with a sword character, but you can do that with Aegis, and just don't go off stage, I guess. But like, I don't know. I think that it's, he's just, people aren't doing his broken stuff, and if he's not doing his broken stuff, he's still a very good character. Again, top 40-ish, top 35-ish. But like, it's not enough for him to be top 20, top 15. So yeah, he's here, but he's not like broken unless they start hitting their stuff. And you know, I will gladly say that I was wrong about this, because I was always someone that overrated Sora in a lot of people's opinions because I valued 0 to deaths, and then people don't hit it. So I can't value it because it's not happening, and it's 6 years into the game. It should be happening by now. Do you think it's because of how intensive IDJ is? It's not. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, Sora has a lot of little intricacies in his combos because of how far things send you. So like, you have to constantly be reacting to very small things. I hate that this character has a resurgence. This character is one of my least favorite characters to fight, and you know, it used to be one of my least favorite characters to watch, but I've been enjoying watching this character a lot recently, and we are talking about Olimar. Again, I don't want to play Shutone. Don't give me Dabuz. Don't give me Candle. I don't want them. Get them away from me. There's 5 good Olimars now, and none of them are in Europe still. But I just think that Olimar is very solid. He obviously has some bad matchups, right? Like, Cloud is like unwinnable, Roy is quite bad. I think Steve is also bad. Like, there are a lot of bad matchups with this character, but at the same time, if you don't run into like those 5 matchups, you just shit on everyone, and he's so annoying, and there's so many little things that you constantly have to be aware of that the Olimar players are, of course, aware of because they play the character. So it's like, I think Olimar might theoretically be worse than this, but there's such an experience gap that is impossible to, you know, get over, because Olimar is just so annoying to deal with, right? Like, there's so many little things that it's impossible to know everything. And then you have Shutone be doing so good with the character, Candle's been doing very good, Uame's been doing very good, Noi's been doing very good with the Olimar specifically. Dabuz, when he plays Olimar recently, has been doing fairly well, unless he fights Spargo. I'm sorry, you're never gonna beat Spargo with this character. That's impossible. You can literally, like, if Spargo loses to an Olimar, I will like throw up. Like, I will eat an entire plastic bottle and throw it up and then eat that throw up. Like, it's impossible. It's not gonna happen. Why did I say that? But I'll stick to that. This next character is played by someone that is in my top 4 players of who I don't want to fight in tournament ever. I hate that they live in my region and have plagued me at locals forever, and they are the reason I have not won multiple locals. We're talking about Hero and Beast Mode Paul. This character's crazy. I think Beast Mode Paul has gotten so much better. Akaki Kusu has been doing so well. Both of them have beat such amazing players. They're consistently doing so well, and I can't ignore the fact that this character is good. Psych Up changes the game. Getting Zoom 85% of the time means that his main flaw, which is the fact that he's edgeguardable, it makes him unedgeguardable. So he doesn't have a main flaw. He does so much damage, his range is crazy, and then he just like oops kills you with Flame Slash, Kaboom, Sizzle, Magic Burst if you want it, and like things go like pretty bad on average, or like his buffs are very good on average. Like on average, you're going to be getting Oomph and Psych Up and Acceleratle and Bounce, and like it can change matchups on their head. So he does well versus zoners because he gets Bounce. He does well versus light characters because he gets Psych Up. He can do a ton of damage. You know, Acceleratle can make him really annoying, and then also, whoops, you got hit at ledge, Kaboom. Oops, you're trying to land, Sizzle at the 35. Oops, side B. Fuck you're supposed to do? Fuck this guy. I hate Hero. Levin was right. Ban this character. Hashtag ban Hero. Put it in the comments, chat. Yeah, you know, he's crazy. He's such a good character. So yeah, I hate that guy. But you know what I don't hate? We're going from one of the characters I want to play the least into a character that I want at every single tournament ever, and I love this character because my favorite player plays him. We're talking Pit. This character is good. I don't care that it's just that great. It doesn't bother me. This character has every tool you need to win. He has no flaws, legitimately no flaws. He doesn't have like the crazy super broken stuff of some other characters, but he does solid damage, solid edge guarding, solid edge trapping, good burst ranges, good projectiles, good recovery, good disadvantage because you have down B. He just has everything. It's very hard to just like, oh, I'm just gonna beat Pit because I'm just gonna like focus on his one bad thing. Like, in order to beat Pit, you have to have better everything than him, or, you know, enough of a gap in something that it's fine, right? Like, the reason I think Pikachu beats Pit is because Pikachu has better neutral and better edge guarding and has like easier killing sometimes. But it's not because like, oh, I just edgeguard him. Like, Pitt's not the type of character. You can't just have one thing over a character and suddenly win. He's not that type of character, and it's just hard. It's just hard to outplay this character, and we see that with Pitt. He has solid kill confirms, solid normal killing, good up smash out of shield. His nair is broken. It's so good. Don't let the Pitt mains tell you,
Oh no, like people fall out of my nair all the time. It's so bad.
no, it's broken. Shut up. It's so good. He can get walled out. How do you wall out a Pitt when he has dash attack? You're wrong. He doesn't have cheese. You're wrong. He has down throw back air at ledge. He's crazy good. He's so good. This character's ridiculous. But you know who's more ridiculous, especially at over 100%? Terry. This character's frame data is crazy. He can cancel so many things. He has plus on shield, descending, special moves. I think the biggest issue with Terry is the fact that he is edge guardable. And it's still kind of hard to do that if you are not a super elite character. This character is crazy good. Very, very strong overall. Obviously, at over 100%, you get access to Buster Wolf and Power Geyser, which is very strong. He does a lot of damage. He kills you super easily with or without rage. Yeah, he's just insane. He's also very mobile, but like, I feel like the biggest issue, the reason that Terry isn't better is because I feel like people have gotten so good at pressuring him from platforms because he has to jump on them sometimes, and then he isn't able to fall through platform, do an aerial, so he has to run off platform, which means that he's almost never going to take stage there because it's not worth the risk of getting down off those platforms. So having that like weird 11 frame get off the platform thing is like the only thing keeping him not in top tier in my opinion, but that in my opinion is quite the big deal. While that in 2024 we're calling Zero Suit inconsistent and Hero consistent, Hero's more consistent than Zero Suit! That's fucked up! Right? I agree. It's crazy. It's happened, chat. We are talking away from the theory of good characters and into the applicable, and you know who that hurts? You know who it hurts. You know. You know who it hurts. Character still kills you at 45. Shulk has a lot of good stuff, right? He has a good recovery when you have jump art. He has crazy neutral. He has, you know, the second worst frame data in the game overall behind Sephiroth, I believe. He still has some good matchups overall, right? He does well versus Steve in Game Watch, ironically. Again, he has a solid matchup spread, but again, he's one of those characters that is just so difficult, and if you are ever wrong or you position wrong, you use an art in a bad place, suddenly, like, your entire game plan gets screwed, and you're messed up. I do think Shulk has had some pretty decent results, right? You have Akio, you have Kome, mostly those two. I don't think the American Shulks are doing anything anymore. And, oh yeah, shout out to Elijahman. Elijahman's actually very good. Low-key might be the best Shulk, but also that's Wi-Fi, so... you know, I'm not going to consider it. Like, I feel like the Shulks just haven't been doing enough. Like, again, there have been good Shulks, right? As I mentioned, Akio, I think, got, like, 9th at the tournament where Leo top 8'd. Like, they're getting decent results, and it's clearly still a good character, scary character, has a ton of damage output, not that many combos, but, like, enough scary stuff, and then, of course, Smash Art, 45 ha. But I just don't think it's enough to put him in top tier, because if they were doing the broken stuff, if people wanted to do the broken stuff, they would have by now. If you are playing your character for 6 years and you're not doing the optimal stuff, you're not going to do it. You're not. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. After Shulk, this is when we start getting to like, oh man, there's top players right now. First off, we are talking about Wario. Wario is broken, don't get me wrong. Gluto is crazy good. The only reason Wario is down here is because he loses to the top 3 characters in the game quite badly. I think those are his 3 worst matchups. So his 3 worst matchups are the 3 most common characters in the game at the moment, or like 3 of the top 5 most common characters in the game at this point, especially when it comes to top players. Wario is super strong. Waft is crazy. He has great aim ability. His disadvantage is super good. His recovery is very, very good. So he's not a character that just randomly dies, and he's a character that randomly kills you, unless you don't have your resources, in which case then you might die. But like, he just struggles with the top 3 characters in the game, and you know who those are, and I'm not going to say them because I don't want to spoil the top 3 characters of my tier list, even though it's pretty obvious who they will be because they should be everyone's top 3 at the moment. He's really good, but he just, like, again, in my opinion, loses to 3 of the top 3, which is hard. And so it's like, when you lose to all of them, I can't really justify putting your character higher than this. And it's not even like he like barely loses to them. Like, they're really bad matchups. Like, the records of the Wario versus the top of those characters is super rough, or he has to make miraculous comebacks. And also, it's mostly just Gluto. Like, Huto's doing fine, Loaf is doing fine, but it's Gluto. And next up, we are going to the land of Japan for the next couple of characters. In terms of how good they are, we are going with Ryu. I don't know, man. Ashimo is crazy with this character. So much damage, such consistent killing. Up air Shoryu is crazy. The fact that, like, the combos of this character are so stupidly long. I don't know why the combos are so long. Why can he do things like up tilt into up air, up air, up air, up air, up air Shoryu? That's stupid. That's dumb. Ryu's crazy. Like, what? That's insane, in my opinion. He does so much damage. His recovery is a little bit exploitable, but, like, you know, most people aren't edgeguarding nowadays except for Game & Watch players and Pika players and Sonic players. And spoilers, those are 3 of the losing matchups. So I think Ryu has a very solid matchup spread. He's able to kill you everywhere. Cross-ups don't matter because he has, you know, parries, and he's just solid. He doesn't have parries. It's not because he has parries. It's because he has auto turnaround. My words are getting, like, I'm talking slower than I'm thinking. Like, he's insane, and I feel like his kill potential is just so good. His back air is insane. His ledge trapping is very good. He has, you know, decently solid edge guarding, which is weird to say. And his ledge trapping is insane. I know I already said ledge trapping, but, like, getting shoryu'd from ledge sucks. Continuing on, I said we're going to Japan, and this one is a former Japanese top player who is no longer able to compete that much because of health. We're talking about Lucina. The person I'm referring to is Proto Banham. Lucina is just solid, right? I think she is a very slightly better pit. She doesn't really have anything wrong with her. She's just solid. She does good damage. She has good edge guarding. She's hard to edge guard. She has good out of shield options. She just does solid damage and solid killing. She's a very solid, good character. She's not broken, but she's not bad. So she's up here, in my opinion. She's kind of crazy. But yeah, I just think Lucina is very strong overall, struggles with some of the top tiers, but is just a good character. Like, I don't feel like Lucina has a matchup that is so bad that you can't play it. I think she can play every single matchup in the game. I think people are going to be surprised at this next pick. I feel like top players aren't going to be surprised by this pick, but I feel like most people will. Here, we're going with Kazuya. Kazuya is a character that is obviously insane a lot of times. However, again, struggles pretty bad with the top 3, so similar to Wario, it's a little bit of struggle then. Obviously has crazy stuff because you have Electric being as good as it is, you have the damage up, but there's also a lot of Kazuya results because you have Riddles when he plays Kazuya, you have T, you have Wilds, you have Skeleton. They've all been doing pretty good. I don't know if there are any Kazuyas in Europe, to be honest, and I don't know what other Kazuyas are in Japan other than, oh, I think, no, I don't know any other besides T. I feel like I'm forgetting that. So he's a touch death character, but the problem is his neutral, if you just know how to deal with electric and you kind of like stay outside that range, can be a little bit rough. Brujo, oh, I forgot about Brujo. Yeah. So Brujo as well. But I just think the neutral is a little bit scary when you play Kazuya, and his disadvantage isn't the best. It's not bad, right? He has frame 4 up air, he has armor down B, but I just think it's like overall for a lot of characters, like his strengths are crazy, but I think the disadvantage for him is a little bit too rough, and it's the ability to whiff punish him is really bad. And again, you lose pretty bad to the top 3, which in my opinion is really rough when it's like, I'm gonna play the super broken meta character, and then you lose to top 3 and you're just like, I lost to the better super meta characters. So yeah, that is Kazuya in a nutshell. And you know who's better Kazuya? Fucking Luigi. What? This character's crazy. Why does he get so many kills off of so many stupid hits? He gets a kill off of this move. He gets kill confirms off of a frame 5 -2 move. And also he gets a kill off of this move, frame 7 in the air. Also he gets kills off of Zair and grab and up air. He just kills you off of so many hits, and Raru is insane. He's insanely good. It doesn't make sense. Like, he so consistently hits every single move, and he has a billion kill confirms, and you have a billion things, and yeah, his recovery is kind of bad, but it's not that bad. Like, top edge guarders in the world are messing up recoveries on Luigi players because there's enough mix-ups that, like, when you don't have your double jump, you're screwed. And like, certain characters can just get the edge guard anyway, but there's a lot of characters that don't simply just get the edge guard, so it's fine. And just like, oh my god, but you have such a bad matchup with like Zerasuit and Sephiroth. There's like 2 of each of those characters. It doesn't matter. Like, his disadvantage is also fine. Like, it's not, again, there are ways to exploit it, but he has enough mix-ups. Like, it isn't as obvious what he wants, because also, even if you're ready for down B, sometimes you might get hit by it anyway because it's invincible frame 1. Like, having a frame 1 invincible thing is always going to be nice, way better than the frame 4 of Kazuya, right? So true combos don't work on him, so you have to respect the combos and you have to let him air dodge away. And then if you're ever wrong or you hit his shield slightly unsafely, up B, you're dead at 50. Kazuya's not gonna kill you at 50 from shield. He simply won't. Like, his disadvantage is fine, and his advantage is some of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. I think Luigi is scarier than Kazuya, absolutely. And also Luigi's doing well, so it's not even just Raru, and also Navy in Japan is doing well. So like, this character's just kind of insane. And a grab at 0 kills you, and from both of them. But like, there's literally less counterplay to Luigi 0 to death than Kazuya 0 to death. Because Kazuya, you have the blue DI line, and it's gonna be really hard, and there's platforms, and it can be annoying. Luigi doesn't hit you on platforms, and if he does, he hits like them intentionally, where he hits like a landing nair, and then goes up air nair into up B from platform. Like, what? Oh yeah, and there's also Guy. Like, and also Zap plays his character. This guy's stupid. And for the final character in this tier, because I like to cause controversy, we have Min Min. I still don't think Min Min is top tier. I think that Doramigi is incredible. I think that Rimu is very good. I think that this character still struggles a little bit too much versus characters to be better than this, and her disadvantage is worse than Luigi's. Free. It's worse than Luigi's, it's worse than Kazuya's. Free. Her neutral is really good, her advantage is very good. But I do think that people just don't know the game plan versus character. And the only reason I'm super good versus character is because it's the exact same game plan. It's the exact same game plan as Smash 4 Zero Suit, which I was one of the best in the world at that matchup. Because you just let her hit your shield with literally everything and then react to grab and then kill her. Except her disadvantage is way worse than Zero Suit's was in Smash 4. And she doesn't kill you off of a grab. But also, Doramigi's edge guards are kind of crazy. I do think she just like loses a couple too many matchups. You know, and again, she has the symptom of she can't double jump in neutral. I mean, she has to double jump in neutral, but if you double jump in neutral, it's really hard. She has a worse disadvantage. She has one of the worst disadvantages in the game, not even for top tiers, but I think it's like a bottom, you know, bottom 10 getting, like, it's a bottom 10 getting juggled situation, and then it is probably, I mean, she has like arms to dissuade people from edge guarding her, but it's still like, if you get in the right spots, it can be really, really hard in disadvantage for her off stage. So yeah, you know, there is what I think Min Min is. Again, she's a very strong character. Again, these characters are all crazy. Raru's gonna be top 5 in the world this season, probably, so, you know, not really that bad. Top tier, 21 characters, the best ones in the game. Let's go. Starting off in the top tier is actually a character I have not put top tier in a long time, and if I put it to top 20, he would simply not be still. We're talking Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong, in my opinion, very strong character, right? Obviously, Tweak does amazing with the character. There's also results from Ryuo in Japan. I think there are other Japanese Diddy Kongs, but I can't remember them at the moment. I don't know if there are any European Diddy Kongs. And then you have like Dakpo in the States, even though Dakpo switched to box, his results have been not as good. But Diddy is just, you know, I think Diddy is overrated. I think people are not good at this matchup. And even when they are good at the matchup, obviously Tweak is an amazing player, so having a top 5 player in the world pilot your character, gonna look good regardless of what's going on. But hey, Luigi is top 5, is like Raru's top 5 right now. He does super well, and he's over here. So that happens. It's just kind of what happens in this game. Oh yeah, Aaron, thank you. I was like, there's a very obvious one. I forgot Beastly. Oh yeah, Beastly, let's go. But yeah, I think Diddy Kong is a very solid character, but I do think there is a lot of counterplay that people don't do versus the character, whether it's the edge guarding, knowing how to deal with monkey flip. Again, it's a Smash 4 experience diff a lot of the times. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to deal with banana monkey flip mix-ups. And if you just camp at the very corner, Diddy Kong will, if you have a projectile, obviously, then like Diddy Kong can't get like banana forward smash because you just fall off of the stage onto the ledge, which is pretty good. I do think obviously a great number of things are amazing about him. He has great ledge trapping in general, because you have banana to put on the ground. Not great ledge trapping, but like pretty solid ledge trapping, good advantage. He's very fast, and then he has a very rinse repeat game plan with banana, which is obviously going to be very good. But I just think there are, like, I think at this point, like, everyone's broken. I just think there are characters better than him. Speaking of characters that are broken, but just also normally fundamentally solid, and that is going to be Mario. Mario has a ton of good players. Kurama and Dark Wizzy have not been entering as much or performing as well, but then you got Snow from Japan, and there are also, I think Navy also plays Mario. I could be wrong about that. I know there's at least one more Mario in Japan, but I forget. Oh, Ron's Mario when he decides to go Mario. This character's crazy. Fireball is broken. He has a great recovery. He has great out of shield options. He kills you from literally anywhere all the time. He has ladder combos. He has non-ladder combos. He has a good spike, good edge guarding, the ability to deal with projectiles very easily with cape. I don't think he has any like bad matchups. Ludo and Now. Yeah, Now's the one I'm thinking of. Thank you. And yeah, Dominator's been doing very well too. So like Mario has a lot of results and a lot of reps, and he's just crazy in my opinion. I don't really understand the flaw of this character besides he doesn't have range, but like who cares? Who cares if he doesn't have range? You know, also doesn't have range Game & Watch. He knows broken Game & Watch. It's fine. Yeah, I just think that like Mario just has all the tools, and I don't think he has worse than a -1 matchup in the game, except maybe Shulk. But again, there's 2 of them. It doesn't matter. I think what keeps Mario up here is the fact that Snow has beat Akala, has beat Tease Kazuya, has beat you know, Sonics. Hasn't beat Mia. Oh no, he has beat Mia. So he's beating all the, like, these matchups are playable. You just have to be very good and do very studied counterplay. Whereas I feel like Dark Wizzy didn't really study like that. He just kind of played the game off of feel. And Kurama focused on combos and advantage more than matchups specifically, at least from me watching it. So yeah, I think he just does really, really well overall. I mean, one of the worst matchups is like Ice Climbers. But yeah, I think just does really well overall into a lot of the top tiers, and like even if you're barely losing, it's Mario, you can just win anyway because you're Mario. How do the numbers work for matchups? So -1 is slight loss, -2 is like significant, like, you know, a losing matchup, just like a solid loss. -3 is like a big loss, and -4 is unwinnable. Next up, we have a character that I hate. He's the character I hate the most in the game now. It's not Game & Watch. This is already on the tier list. It's Pac-Man. I hate this guy. Die. That's my whole thing. No, I think Pac-Man is insane. I think there are also a good amount of Pac-Man players. You have T, obviously, with Pac-Man. You have JDV. You have, who's the one I lost to at Genesis that one year? I forget his name. Oh my God, Rocky. I don't know if and there's also Modzai and Etoile from Europe. I think they're both French, actually, so they're both from France. This character's nuts. He does so much damage. He can stall out the game. There are a lot of characters that can't deal with Hydrant, so he just automatically wins. He has a great recovery. He has a very consistent, again, similar to Diddy Kong game plan of just like, I'm gonna get my thing. I'm gonna get my thing. I'm gonna get my thing. It's just, he's crazy. There's also like people like, oh no, E-King. That's literally just his whole tag is E-King. Yeah, there are just enough Pac-Man players that like do pretty well that it's just like, I don't understand why people think this character's bad. No one can ever tell me why this character's bad. They're just like, oh, but like you just have to do this like, you know, dark arts ritual and then understand every single thing and also you're fine. I'm just like, what? Yeah, this character's just nuts, does too much damage, has great out of shield option, has great ledge trapping, amazing traps. He's just really good. He's just really solid. And I don't understand why people think this character's not great. When he has just like everything you would ever need to win, and then you have like the forward smash of God. Like, literally the forward smash of God. Olimar vs. Cloud -4. No, it's -2. It's just really hard at top level because the best player in the world is the Cloud player. Next up is a character that is very split when it comes to their strength, the perception of their strength in Japan and America. No, we're not talking about Pikachu. You think Pikachu's not going to be in top 10? You're crazy. We're going Yoshi, baby. Japan thinks this character is broken because you have Yoshidora, Ron, and Fui. I feel like I'm missing a fourth. I feel like there's a fourth one that I'm not thinking of at the moment. Whereas this character basically only succeeds in Japan. Pharaoh is good in the US as well. You obviously had Suarez back in the day and Raptor back in the day. But really it's Pharaoh and Japan, which is kind of rough. I do think this character is absolutely insane. Has one of the best disadvantage tools in the entire game with double jump. You have great air mobility, you have amazing combos, crazy damage output, you have down air for disadvantage, which if you don't have a sword, you're just gonna have to take it and take a bunch of shield damage. He has crazy killing with up air and back air. He has crazy kill confirms because he has like things like fair up air or nair fair off stage. He has egg confirms, he can go out there. He has a pretty good matchup with the top tiers in my opinion. I know he does well versus, I think he does well versus Fox, I could be wrong about that. But he does really well in a lot of matchups. He has some losing matchups like Samus that can be pretty rough, but I feel like overall he does fine. Yoshidora has taken sets off of Aquila, and also I believe versus Mia, so definitely, and I know Ron's beat Mia, I'm pretty sure, so like the character can beat the super top tier characters in this game. I think also has a fine matchup versus Sonic. It's probably not good, but it's fine. Double jump armor, obviously frame 1 gets out of anything you want. You know, he has good edge guarding, he has great juggling, he has great chasing. There's basically nothing wrong with this character. He's just not super insanely broken like some other characters. He's also heavy, so it's nice. Does Yoshi beat Snake? I think it's even. These next two characters are characters that are fundamentally solid, and people look at you weird when you don't put them in top 10, but then you look at the top 10 characters and you go, that's kind of crazy. We're talking first, Palutena. Obviously, Palutena has an amazing set of tools. You have some of the best aerials in the game, amazing speed, great disadvantage, great empty jump, just good stats in general, good edge guard, well, fine edge guarding. One of the best 2 frames in the game in terms of down tilt. You have invincible moves in dash attack and back air, but the thing about Palu is, again, similar to like Wolf, right? Where it's like you have to play the player all the time. Do you have amazing tools for, you know, dealing with that, like up air and forward air? Yeah, you have all the tools, but Palu like doesn't have ground moves. Like run up jab is your best ground move, which is bad for like neutral. So you don't have the ability to stay on the ground a lot. I mean, you can grab, but like it's really, really hard. She also doesn't have great out of shield options. By great, I mean she has like kind of meh out of shield options. And it's really hard for her to stay consistent, which is why the Palus are up and down, right? Like Luis will do really well at Don't Park on the Grass and then get like 33rd at Genesis, which isn't even a fault to him. Again, I got 65th. I'm not talking shit. It's just hard. And there's a lot of matchups that can be really, really scary. Especially because there are some characters that just right? Like even the matchups that you win, right? Like you win versus Kazuya. Kazuya just electrics one of your back airs before it comes out. Oh, you die, right? You have to play so solid to win with Palu. Even if the character is very good, you still have to be super fundamentally solid, which is hard to do when the people above you are also playing fundamentally solid and then are playing God. And I know she's a goddess, but you know, no pun intended. Next up is another character that's a little bit more cheater than Palutena, but at the same time has worse lows. We're talking about Aegis. Again, crazy crazy insane character, the damage output of God, the killing of God when you're Pyra. But this character is the one up here with the worst recovery by far, in my opinion, by far. You are very susceptible off stage. You cannot double jump in neutral. There are so many times that Aegis players just die. Even though sometimes they just up air you 17 times and you can't do anything about it, but Aegis is one of those characters that is very susceptible to tournament nerves and tournament issues. Again, is she a very strong character? Yeah, so 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Top 16 is still very good in this game. If you want to put her at 10, the 16th and the 10th best character on my list are very close together, in my opinion. So I think it's just a little hard to super be consistent with this character, which is why every Aegis player not named Cosmos has a secondary, and even Cosmos, I think, plays Corrin now, because she's just scary to do it alone. She's scary. When people are reading your neutral, it becomes really, really hard to succeed with her. She's a much better secondary than she is a main, in my opinion, and if you're a better secondary than you are a main, you can't be top 10. Sparkle was the only one who did really good at solo Aegis. Yeah, and then he stopped doing solo Aegis because he decided Cloud's better. Next up, we have Joker. This character obviously is seeing a resurgence because Leo's doing really well. I think Leo is insanely good, and I think Joker is insanely good, but I just think characters above have very simple game plans. I feel like Joker is, again, similar to Palu, not quite the same, but similar to Palu, has to like play a very normal game plan. You have crazy tools, right? It's really, really good. You have Leo, you have Omega, you have Goryoka. There's plenty of Jokers that are doing really well, especially Leo. Again, I'm very happy he's doing better, but I just think this character isn't as insane as the characters above. I don't feel like he has a very obvious win con because his main win con of Arsene is also his biggest lose con because you get Arsene when you're off stage and then you get Edgeguarded. Or you lose it and you don't have the ability to do that. Leo is Joker. Joker just doesn't get the kills that are necessary, and also I think he struggles against a lot of the top tiers. Not all the top tiers. He beats Joker, or he beats Game & Watch, I think, or at the very least Leo's got at that matchup, so maybe it's even. I don't know. But like he does fine versus the top tiers. It's just he's not as insanely broken as the top tiers, and you still have to like get a bunch of big reads and a bunch of outplays in order to win with this character against, again, like a Steve spamming back air. What do you do against Steve spamming back air as Arsene? Like, even as Arsene, like, your back air's worse. You can't, like, it's hard, right? You have to find your really hard to find spots, and they are findable. Again, Joker's a very good character, but he's just not super broken, in my opinion. Next up, we have a character that I don't think, like, even though they went down in this list, I don't think they got worse. There has just been a resurgence of this character's absolute worst matchup, and we are going Samus. Samus, in my opinion, has all the crazy things that I mentioned before. She has one of the most simple and obvious win conditions in the game because she has the best ledge trapping in the game. She has good out of shield options, fantastic neutrals, such a scary character to play. She has some losing matchups that are quite bad, such as Falco and Min Min. Those aren't that much of an issue, though. You can play those. Olimar is unwinnable. It's not -4, but it actually might be -3. It's legitimately one of the worst matchups in the game, especially when it comes to top tier versus top tier, or top tier versus anyone type of matchup in terms of losing. And there are now 5 to 7 good Olimars, so it is a lot more likely that the Samus players are running into Olimars at tournaments, therefore the character's worse. That's straight up it. That's the only thing that happened is Olimars got better, because Kando got better, Dabuz started playing Olimar again, Uame and Noi have been doing very well as Olimar. It's just really hard, but when Samus gets her game going, she is obnoxious, she's hard to juggle, she is hard to edgeguard, she juggles really well, she edgeguards really well, she edge traps really well. This character does so much damage for no reason, has a billion kill confirms. This character's nuts, this character's so stupid, but Olimar destroys her. So like, and then also you still lose to Game & Watch and Steve, which is like hard. Has a good matchup for Sonic though, in my opinion, but like you lose to like 2 of the top 3, and then you also like just get destroyed by Olimar. I think Falco's fine, I think, you know, Bayo's fine. I think that Min Min is fine. Like, they're losing, but they're fine. But then Olimar is just so bad. There's not much Olimars. There's literally more Olimars for top level representation. There are more Olimars than I think any other character besides Steve. Next up is a character that I feel like people overrate. And by overrate, I mean really overrate. Even though he's still top tier, I think people are insane for thinking this character is like, so many people think he's top 5. We got Snake. I don't know why people think this character is top 5. It is insane. I mean, Hurt's really good. A lot of Snake players are very good. It is insane to me that people think this character is top 5 when he has the disadvantage he does, and he has the lack of combos and frame data that he does. People just run into shit. No one knows this matchup, I swear to God. Like, he has so many losing matchups, he has so many struggle matchups, and he has so many things that are difficult for him. Obviously, he can also make comebacks, and he can also just up tilt you at 85, and he's gonna win. But I just think this character struggles a lot harder than people realize. I don't know why. I feel like so many people are just like, yeah, this is hard for me. And then they're just like, or like, the Snake players would be like, this matchup's hard for me. And then they just like win anyway, which like that happens, right? Snake I don't think has any like unwinnable matchups. There's definitely he's a fluid enough character that he has a bunch of stuff, but again, like everything he has is unsafe on shield when you don't have grenade, and that seems crazy to me. You can just hit him. You can just out of shield him as like every character in the game. It's crazy. Apollo Culkin Hurt thinks he has 3 losing matchups. It's like 10 losing matchups. Down tilt's basically safe because he low profiles. That's the only one. Do you see Snakes only using down tilt? No, they use every... People will get up tilted on shield and try to shield grab. Whereas every single character in the game, maybe not every character in the game, but I'm pretty sure almost every character in the game, good or bad, can add a shield Snake's up tilt. And they simply don't. He loses matchups, but you're never running to Inkling or Gunner or Mega Man. It's not the same as losing hard to Steve. He loses to Steve. He loses to Steve. He loses to Game Watch. He loses to Sonic. Those are the 3 most common characters and the best characters in the game. He loses the 3 main matchups in this game, and then he loses to a bunch of other characters in top tier. And also, even if he doesn't lose, you can just kill him at 60. He does not lose to Steve. I think people saying that Snake doesn't lose to Steve don't know how Steve works. You just keep mining, you get diamond forever. Does he lose 10 matchups? I think Snake loses maybe more than 10 matchups. Again, personally, right? Obviously, I'm not a Snake player, but I'm very good against Snake. So I think Snake loses to Samus, Fox, Incin, Inkling, Joker, Mega Man, Brawler, Gunner, Min, Game & Watch, Palu, Aegis, Olimar, Ness, this is 14, Sonic, Steve, Zero Suit. Had a Snake lose against Incin? You can't grenade, ever. Falco or Ryu possibly? I don't think Ryu, but Falco maybe. Like, that's the thing, and then there's a bunch of Ian matchups. It's crazy. But yeah, I just think Snake has like a way worse matchup start than people think. Of course, like he's able to just like grenade and be clever and do stuff, so he's still good, right? Like if you say a character loses 17 matchups, you would think he'd be like an upper mid tier. Because I think Sheik probably loses less matchups than that. But like Snake's still really good, and most of those are -1 and like very doable. This character is probably one of the biggest buffed characters overall, and by buffed I mean players got really good and does too much damage. Bayo. The Bales are just doing too well, right? You have Lima, who's insane. Like, the Bale players are starting to win their bad matchups. They have amazing wins against some of the best players in the world. They have consistent out-of-shield damage. Witch Time is crazy. Timing out with this character is insane. You can't advantage this character ever because she has frame 1 air dodge. She has Witch Time. She just goes to ledge. The only, I feel like, consistent way to beat this character is by like a couple of matchups. Ironically, Snake, even though I was just talking crap about him, Snake is very good at this matchup. Or like timing her out, which is super hard because she does a bunch of damage. She does so much damage. Why does she do so much damage? And they're starting to get so good at their kill confirms, and they're starting to get good at witch striking, which is like the single hit uppies that you can't SDI. This character is stupid. Character's insane. It's so crazy. I just think it's so hard to like fight against Bayo if you're not like also God. Like, I don't know what bad characters Bayo does not do well against. I feel like she just eliminates so many characters from like contention and like fights that like I don't know what to do. I mean, I know what to do. I played 2 good matchups against her, right? Like Pico wins, Brawler wins, in my opinion, or at the very least they're even. But like, so it's fine. But like, what do you do if you're a normal character? Like, what do you do if you're a normal character? That's insane. I genuinely don't know. Yeah, like, her advantage state is insane, and her disadvantage is, like, it's probably the best, maybe second best disadvantage in the game. And now we are 1 character away from the top 10, and this is a little clump, in my opinion. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say what the clump is, but first off, we are going to have Roy. I think Roy is an insanely good character. You obviously have Cola doing very well. Alice has been doing really good in Japan. I think this character does very well versus meta overall. I think he does solid versus most of the characters. He has an unfortunately losing matchup to Pika, but there's 2 of us, so it doesn't matter. I think this character is just insane. Like, he does so much damage. His killing is ridiculous. His edge trapping is so scary. His advantage overall is just so strong that even if he has a slightly worse disadvantage, because his recovery is a little bit exploitable, it's only exploitable by characters that really have projectiles, or like Joker specifically. So yeah, I think that Roy is just, it's so scary to just be fighting Roy at basically all times. Like, again, I'm trying to take my bias out of it because Pikachu is like Roy's first matchup. But yeah, I think it's really, really hard to deal with everything Roy has. There's preemptive DI that you can do to kind of get away from stuff, but then you're still like in bad spots, or you get sour spot, and then you just get edge trapped forever, and then he reads your roll and F tilts you. It doesn't matter. Like, he's so scary. He kills so consistently. Cole is crazy. Goblin's crazy. Alice is crazy. And with that, we are officially in the top 10. And I know you may be thinking, hey, ESAM, Cloud's not top 10. It's just Spargo being really good. No, Cloud's crazy. His recovery is so hard to actually deal with. People aren't messing up anymore, right? Like, for a long time, I was like, man, people are just messing up edge guarding him. There's just so many ways to do that people aren't doing, right? I'm clearly like one of the most, I'm one of the people, if not the person that values edge guarding the most, definitely like top 3, right? Don't edgeguard this character unless he doesn't have a double jump, because his up B snap is too far. He has too many mix-ups to get edgeguarded. And then, of course, his neutral is insane. I don't care that every other Cloud kind of sucks, except for, like, it's literally Spargo and it's Cola's secondary Cloud. I don't care that it's just them. It doesn't matter. There's 2 Game & Watch players, and he's super broken. There's 2 Pika players. I think the character's messed up. It doesn't matter. This character is so strong. He does such consistent damage. He has some of the best edge trapping in the game. He has some of the best juggling in the game that is like uncontestable. You can't contest Bear at ledge. You can't contest up air when you're trying to land on it. It's literally impossible. So you get 1 hit as Cloud, which, by the way, the opening hit does so much damage. You hit like fair cross slash, that does like 35 or 37%. It doesn't matter. There's more than 2 Game Watches. Sorry, there's 3. Because it's also Monty. Like, every bad matchup, quote-unquote, that Cloud has is a matchup that you just ledge trap them anyway, or you can ledge trap them. He ledge traps Pika! That's not cool. Pikachu doesn't get ledge trapped by, like, anyone. It's literally Samus and Cloud and, like, Fox, and that's it. But yeah, he has, like, top 5 ledge trapping in the game, especially when he has Limit, because you just, like, get access to Limit Cross Slash. Or not Limit Cross Slash, Limit Up B. I haven't even talked about Limit yet. Limit makes his recovery one of the best in the game. It also makes his edge guarding crazy good, right? It is so hard to get around the edge guarding when he has Limit, because he has a giant sword. It's a giant sword. It's a giant -3 sword, and then he has empty jump cross slash and empty jump grab. And yes, is Spargo amazing? Is he the best player in the world? Absolutely. But this character's crazy. You can't be the best player in the world with a bad character. It does not happen. Are there maybe some matchups that are a little bit bad? Sure. Did he lose to Zachary? Yeah. But at the same time, who the fuck plays Pit? I don't fucking know. Like, again, the Cloud doesn't destroy everyone in the game. He doesn't just like absolutely demolish every character, but he does so much consistent damage with the best move in neutral in the game. Cloud back air, maybe second best move in neutral in the game. Cloud back air is the top 2 move in neutral, the other one's being Steve back air. Those are the 2 best neutral moves in the game because of their range and their power and their damage. It's his kill move, it is his neutral move, it is so hard to deal with, and yeah, if you get a read on Cloud, then you can start parrying everything, but he doesn't have to back air. He doesn't have to back air. He just doesn't. Like, he has too many good moves. He has like, and then his up smash is crazy. It's one of the better killing up smashes. You can just hit people on platforms with it. You can up B at a shield. There's just so much you can do with this character, and like, there's just the flaws of this character are so limited because he has so many mix-ups. And again, you are so worried about being wrong on the edge guard that a lot of people just don't. And then he has like some of the best reversals in the game, like, you know, best mashing reversals in the game. You can't mess with Cloud down air. You can't. If you're like, if you didn't catch him before he drifted away from you when he's facing away from you, you can't like deal with falling away from you back air. It's literally impossible. It's literally impossible. This character is insanely good. Like, I don't know why people don't think this character is broken. And I'm people. I didn't think this character was broken. I was stupid and wrong and bald, okay? I'm bald and wrong and stupid. I'm bald and wrong and stupid, and that's okay. We can be bald and wrong and stupid. And you may be able to tell the theme now of this 3-character clump. We got Corin, who in my opinion is still the best sword character in the game. This character's dumb. She does too much damage in combos. She, again, has crazy edge trapping because she has back air and pin and nair and F smash. She has probably better juggling than Cloud because you have up air, which is better than Cloud's up air. And you also have up air into landing nair. You have really great landing aerials. You have pin, which is insane for neutral. You have pin for 2-framing. You have full hop pin. You have back air, which is insane. The character's mobility is a little low, which is definitely not great. But at the same time, they have a frame, what was it, 8 dash shield, which is tied for the best in the game with Sheik, so a lot of her dashes are non-committal, which means she gets to take free space that even Cloud doesn't get to do. He has to like jump and commit early. The lack of dash speed is actually good in this instance. She has great reversals, right? She has nair, she has up air, she has back air, she has down air if you really need it. She has a counter on specific like recoveries and stuff. Her ledge trapping is just insane, and her neutral is very good. Again, it's not like broken. Does she struggle with a couple characters? Yeah. Is Shattuck doing slightly worse? Yeah. He got dropped from his team and is focusing on school. Give the kid a break. Like, I just think that Corin is insane. Again, I had Corin in my top 10 last tier list as well. She's just insane. She's just so good, and she kills so consistently and so early. Has a kill throw, has, again, crazy juggling and ledge trapping. That's just like, you never are comfortable fighting this character because you're like, I'm at 0, everything's fine. Oh man, I got hit by like the landing fair or an air. I took 1 billion damage. Now I'm at the ledge. I got hit by back air. Fuck, I might die to pin 2-frame. Fuck, I might die to forward smash. Oh, okay, actually I died up and in, so I didn't get 2-framed. I have to deal with up air. Oh, I got hit by fair back air. I died at 80. That's so crazy. Character's nuts. Character's so good. Clearly top 10 in my opinion. It's crazy to me that more people don't play this character, myself included. I should play this character. And next up, we have the character with the worst results of the rest of the list. We got Mii Brawler, baby. Broken. I don't care. There are a billion Mii Brawler players that are all pretty good. None of them are super top players, right? The number one Mii Brawler being Kid. Apple Reviewer is also very good. Yeast has got a lot of upsets. I don't play Brawler in tournaments because I never get Brawler brackets anymore. Character's crazy. He has some of the dumbest combos in the game that are very easy. He has some of the most consistent kill confirm. He has probably the second most consistent kill confirms in the game behind Sonic, because he just like down throw uppies or nair uppies or up air uppies. He has so many variants of kill confirms that are like actually pretty easy. This character's nuts. I just think that a traditional top player does not play the character, because if I feel like if I just didn't play Pikachu, who's better than this, but if I didn't play Pikachu, my Brawler would be nasty. But it's all just like new up-and-coming players that play Brawler, and that's it. Like, they're all newer up-and-coming players, and it's not Steve, so you don't win majors. But Brawler's pretty good. I just think that he's like, he does so much damage, and his dash attack's amazing. He has a command grabber. He has a move that goes half the stage. He has a pretty good recovery. He has decent edge guarding. He's one of the best downers for two framing in the game. He has like a top 5 or 7 strong F smash that also you can combo into it, by the way, with 2 different moves. You can get nair F smash and up air F smash, and also 2 frames, by the way. He has good 2 framing with down tilt and up tilt into up B. You can also use, of course, heli kick. If you want, heli kick's also good, right? It kills you off the side. It's very consistent, landing nair combos into heli kick for like ever. I think Brawler's just insane. There's also SD kills that you can get with suplex. You know, you can't land on him on platform if you are playing against one that is playing suplex, because you just get suplex and it does 21 damage. But like Osh9 is doing really well, Apple Reviewer is doing well, Reese is doing really well. All the Brawler players are doing very well, and he has a very solid matchup spread. The only issue, the reason he's not higher, is because in my opinion he loses to Sonic pretty bad, but also I only play that matchup online, so I don't know how it is offline. I genuinely don't. He's just insane. This is a scary character, very scary character. There's no one in the world that's like, Mii Brawler, I'm fine. Because even the bad matchups for Brawler, right? Like Cloud is pretty bad. And then like, again, not to be just like, I'm super good, but like I was able to beat Spargo the day, again, not in tournament. I was able to beat him 3-2 the day that he won Supernova. I got 65th. That's crazy. You know, like I think this character is just insane. He has a couple losing matchups, but I think they're all very doable. And he just blows you up, right? Like, could people ledge camp against him more? Yeah, but also his ledge trapping is like probably top 10 or so in the game, because he has dash attack, he has nair, he has, of course, if you get like the read, you get down throw thrupper, you get forward smash, you get like a lot of good stuff, whatever's out of shields. Frame 3 up B if you run thrupper, frame 6 nair, frame 7 or 8 up B if you run heli kick. And I know you may be thinking, hey, ESAM, why is Brawler better than Mario? It's because he's a fast faller, so he's able to do empty jumps. And also his nair is better, and his approaches are generally better. And also, he does all the combos that Mario does. They're maybe slightly harder for Brawler, but he does more of them and more consistent kills. And then he has throw move into kill move. Throw move into kill move, very good. You wanted the last character that had throw move into kill move? Down throw up tilt, technically. Brawler's not better than Fox? No, Fox is broken. Fox is unfortunately super broken. But before we get Fox, we have Peach. Peach is one of the most fluid characters in the game. She is super difficult, but her difficulty is rewarded in spades because she breaks the rules of the game because of float. I really think that Peach is rewarded so much. You can't play Smash Bros against Peach. You have to play very weird, very counterintuitive counterplay against Peach. And does she have a couple bad matchups that are a bit awkward? Yeah. For sure. Like, there are definitely some struggle matchups for Peach, but also then she hits you and does 1,000,000,000% for no reason. She has like 0 to 80s and 0 to that's, and Turnip is crazy, and it's a broken projectile. She also has good edge guarding and not great ledge trapping, fine ledge trapping, but also she has like a really, not a good disadvantage, but like it's hard to advantage her because she has float. So if you ever commit, she just floats and then fast falls, and you have to be ready all the time for everything. Float's just insane. It's such a stupid mechanic. It's like so strong. She has a counter for projectiles if you really need them. It's hard to approach her. It's hard to add a shield her because she has great footstool out of shield, because she has footstool out of shield into turnip stuff, or footstool out of shield just into like weak nair dash attack or weak nair bear or strong nair if you're a death percent. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of Peach players that are very good as well. It's not just Mutace, right? Even though Mutace is the premier Peach at this point. Love that guy. But you got Mutace, you got Ling, you got Umeki, you got Ki. You have Yalmanac, from, I don't actually know where Almanac's from, but they're pretty good. Float is crazy. I think this character has a ton of amazing tools. The only problem is this character can't kill sometimes, but then also you kill it 70 sometimes. So like she has the tools to beat every character. Ironically, she has like mediocre matchups versus some mid tiers, but again, they're not super common, so it doesn't matter. Where would Peach be without Float? Peach without Float is probably like here. And I said I would get back to it, but we are going with Fox for right outside of top 5. This character's nuts. He has some of the easiest and most consistent damage in the game with just upper, upper, upper. His dash attack is the best burst option in the game by far, in my opinion. He has great damage. He has amazing mix-ups. He has the most unreactable empty jump in the game, so you literally can't react to it. He has plenty of mix-ups in terms of nair and landing down air, and also empty jump jab, and also empty jump grab. And people are like, oh, well, just like take the grab versus Foxy. His grabs are so bad. He gets you off stage, and then he ledge traps you with the second best ledge trapping in the game, in my opinion, behind Samus. Maybe the best ledge trapping in the game, low key. His dash attack is crazy for it. He consistently just hits you with nair off stage. Light is just hitting people off stage at 40 and then ledge trapping them until death percent, and then getting nair up smash on the roll read. That shit's crazy. Fox is insane. You can't even say, oh, but just like the results bait. Like Light is so good right now. He's beating everyone that's not named Sparkle. He's beating the bad matchups of Game & Watch, and he beat Shiny Mark, so he beats the Pikachus. You know, Fox also has uniquely good matchups versus characters that are generally very good, like Ayo and Fox. But yeah, like Fox just has some of the best ledge trapping in the game. He has such consistent killing, and even if it's like, oh, but like if he can't get the nair up smash, he doesn't get the kill. He just ledge traps you. He just empty jump grabs you, which is unreactable. You literally have to guess. Which, by the way, you're risking getting nair up smashed or nair dash tag up air or nair into something on the platform. He's just insane. It's just so crazy. I don't understand what you're supposed to do versus this character if you don't play like Pika or Pichu. Because those matchups, or like Luigi, those matchups are bad. But like at the same time, you beat Shiny Mark, so I don't know. Like I think this character is just insanely good, such insanely strong kill potential. It is always scary because you are never comfortable versus this character because he either does a billion damage on platforms or on stages, or he edge traps you for 1,000,000,000%. And again, Fox's ledge trapping is broken and uncontestable for most characters. It's where Light has been getting a ton of his damage and his kills. And again, Light is a very good ledge trapper, like as a player as well. It's not just Fox, but Fox is insanely good at it. It's so stupid. Like, I don't know what people think the issue is. Like, it's like, oh, but Game Watch is so bad. He's literally won the last like 3 sets versus Mia. Shut up. And like, again, he does, like, again, so apparently the Game Watch matchup is fine. The Steve matchup, similarly, like, it's losing, but it's fine. And then he beats Sonic. He's one of the only characters that beats Sonic, so we got 5 characters left, chat. Just 5 characters. You know the 5. It's the same 5 as last tier list. It's the same top 5. Is it the same order? Who knows? Get your guesses into chat. Of course, if you don't know, the characters are Steve, Sonic, Rob, Pika, and Game & Watch. Number 5, we have Rob. I think Rob is insane. Obviously has a great disadvantage state. It's very hard to juggle him if you aren't a super good sword character or Mr. Game & Watch. He does crazy on stage. He has great combos. He has 0 to deaths. But again, at this point, the reason I put Rob lower is because the Robs aren't hitting the 0 to deaths anymore. I mean, Anathema doesn't play, which, you know, helps that. But the best Robs aren't hitting the 0 to deaths, so I'm not going to consider them anymore because they don't hit them. And again, it is 6 years into the game. If you're not hitting the fucking 0 to deaths, I'm not going to count them. You should be better. You should be ashamed of yourself for not being able to hit these 0 to deaths. I wish my 0 to deaths were that simple. I wish I didn't have to do a billion different things and a billion different micro adjustments, which I know sometimes you do when you're playing Rob, depending on the character. But like, fuck you, privileged ass motherfuckers. They don't do it, so I'm not going to consider it, except for sometimes Atomic. They don't get the 0 to deaths, so I'm not going to consider the 0 to deaths. I'll consider that there's a lot of good stuff with the character. Down tilt is crazy. Down throw up air is crazy. You don't need, you know, the crazy edge guards and the 0 to deaths. He also has one of the best downers in the game. Crazy backer, super strong. I just think the character struggles a little bit too hard with some matchups. I think that, and not even in terms of way of like, oh, but like he's then 0 to deaths him, because they don't. They don't 0 to death him. They don't do it. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, Game Watch is really bad because you're not gonna hit the 0 to death. Cope. I don't know. Maybe all players suck ass. I don't know. And yeah, like we've seen a rise of Bayo. Bayo does very well versus Rob. Obviously, I think Fox does well versus Rob. I think that Game Watch obviously does very well versus Rob. I think there are plenty of characters that are scary versus Rob. Even characters like Min Min and Luigi and Kazuya are just like better at getting the 0 to deaths, and he has a big body, so you're gonna get hit sometimes. I think that like Rob is randomly a cheesable character. Obviously, he can cheese people back, but I feel like the game is never over when you're fighting against a Rob or as a Rob, to be honest. But yeah, I think that Rob is number 5. Number 4, we are going to go with Pikachu. I still think Pika's top 5. I think I put him in number 5 last tier list, but I do believe in him a little bit more now because I started camping, and that's really scary. Pika is insane. Obviously, he has a ton of damage. The biggest thing about Pika, though, isn't his damage and isn't his combos, even though those are nice because it helps his actual best aspect, which is the fact that it is so hard to hit him. It's so hard to hit him when you decide not to. Like, I've done it now. I see the light. My mind has been opened. My bald head has expanded and opened in a way that there is now a robot in there and I can camp. I'm not going to camp all the time, but I can camp. Proofs of concept between myself and Shiny Mark recently with camping, and myself back in the day, so you know that the offense of Pikachu is crazy. He has an insanely good matchup spread, right? Like, there's some still definitely matchups I don't like with the character, but, you know, all the worst matchups for Pikachu, right? Game & Watch, Ness, Shiny Marks beat the best reps of those. Well, he hasn't played Mia, but he beat Meister, who has like a 8-0 record with me. He's beat all the Nest players. He has a winning record on all the Nest players. He would still lose to T-Pac, man. It's so hard to hit Pika. It is incredibly hard to hit Pika. And then when you like extend in a way that maybe you think you can get a hit, Pikachu does 70. Like, his damage output is insane, so he's able to run away and then suddenly tack on massive amounts of percent. And he has very consistent killing with his dash attack, his Nair down smash, and just his edge trapping is very good with T-Jolt, right? He's not necessarily going to get kills at 110, but he will get a kill from you. Or he will kill you off of his ledge traps pretty consistently, and then if he ever doesn't, he just runs away the rest of the time. He's crazy. Like, up a stock, you know the Pika vibes. It is insane. Which leaves the top 3 for, I believe, what people mostly expect the top 3 to be, which is Game & Watch, Sonic, and Steve in some order. And first off, that is the correct order of the first one. We are talking about Mr. Game & Watch. Character's nuts. Obviously, Mia is the number 2 player in the world at the moment. There are other good Game & Watches, mostly Meister and Monty. Character does too much damage, has the best advantage state in the game, bar none. I think it's like by far, he is the best advantage state in the game. His juggling is the best in the game because his up air and nair are insane. Also Ploopy. Ploopy's doing good. I don't know who Abe is. Also, I think some more people are secondary in Game & Watch in Japan. He has an incredibly solid matchup spread. He does lose to a couple characters, right? There are definitely matchups that are struggles for him. Random characters too, like Rosa, Zero Suit, which are not very meta, but he does perfectly fine versus Game & Watch, or sorry, not Game & Watch. He does perfectly fine versus Steve. I think he loses to Sonic, but like, it's probably fine. It's just, you know, if Sonic has the lead, it can be hard. But does like really well versus like all the meta, right? In theory, he beats Fox, even though Light's winning recently. He does really well versus Rob. He does really well versus Peach. I think he loses to Brawler, but it's probably low-key even. I think he beats Corrin. He loses to Cloud, but then he does very well versus most of the other characters in this top tier. Absolutely. He just does so much damage. His down smash, forward smash is broken. Up smash is a crazy. He has the best set of smash attacks in the game, except maybe Min Min. Thank you, Easy Freezy, for the raid. I appreciate it. I hope your Lumi rank stuff went well. Yeah, like, people have always been like, Swords beat Game & Watch, and then he uppers you a single time, and all the Sword characters have shit disadvantage states. It's literally universally the worst thing about Sword characters is disadvantage, except Cloud, which is why he's one of the best Sword characters in the game. And then also, he has like top 7, at the very least, edgeguarding in the game, right? It's up there, right? Like, there's definitely characters that are better, like Bayo and Puff and Meta Knight and maybe Pika and definitely Sonic. But like, it's up there, right? It's definitely one of the best edge guards in the game. And even if he doesn't edge guard you, he has like the top 5 at the very least ledge trapping with Chef and F tilt. So stupid. You just go Chef, F tilt, Chef, back air. Does so much damage. Chef, like, he has so many auto win moves. Like characters like, oh, I lose to Game Watch because of Uppy, or because of Nair, or because of Chef, or because of back air, or because of up air. Like, it's so stupid. It's so. I can't even, I'm not even like, I'm better against Game Watch now, so it's not even an anti-me thing. Like, I watch Mia and I'm just like, he just hit people and they die. They just die. Everyone dies. The entire world dies to this character. It is insane. And you know who else people die against? A lot of players lose to this next character because he's obviously been one of the best characters in for a long time, has had some of the best reps in the world, easily the top of the Lumi rank. Actually, not just the top, but the number 1 player of Lumi rank for a long time. Akala. Steve is number 2. The reason Steve is number 2 is, first off, Sonic is number 1. That's spoilers. Steve, more than Sonic, has counterplay. Steve has actual losing matchups. I mean, they're fine. You can just get the nils, but again, people don't nil, so I'm not going to count them, right? I think that my perspective of, oh, in just theory, you should just hit things, like just hit the nils, is unrealistic because they're not. The Steve players still aren't. The best player in the world for a long time, I mean, Akola still maybe is like skill-wise the best player in the world. He just didn't go to as much this season because he's like focusing on school or whatever. So he took a step back. He's still probably the best player in the world. But he doesn't nil. He doesn't do like the best combos that Steve has. And again, if I'm wrong and he actually starts doing that and he starts planking, yeah, I mean, again, in theory, Steve is the best, right? Because he planks and he does a bunch of crazy, super broken stuff. But he has counterplay because he's slow. He's actually slow, and he doesn't have as strong of an advantage state as, honestly, the two characters around him, because he doesn't have just like the speed and the jump height, and he doesn't have crazy broken moves. So like when you are out mobilitying Steve, it can be a struggle. Obviously, he has blocks and he has a way to make you approach, but you can just not. He gets all his resources and then you just jump around them. It's fine. Like, there's plenty of actual counterplay to Steve that is objectively very good, and it's not as much guessing. It's a lot more reacting, right? And like, none of the Steve players do nils. And yes, is it in the game? Sure. But at this point in the meta, again, it is 6 years deep. Steve has been out for at least 4, right? They're not doing it, so I don't care about it anymore because they're not doing. Again, I think it's stupid. I think, again, in theory, Steve is the best character in the game, but this isn't a theory tier list. This isn't just a theory tier list. Otherwise, Shulk wouldn't be down here. Again, is he still insane? Yeah. Does he have a bunch of crazy matchups, like crazy good matchups? Is his comeback potential insane? Yeah. He has great edge guarding, less trapping, traps, blocks for edge guards. Crazy. Super good. Super strong. However, Sonic has the best neutral in the game by far. He has some of the best combos in the game. So much damage. His grab is incredible. He's so fast, obviously, right? It's Sonic. He's so fast. It is insane how fast he is. He has, I think, the best edge guarding in the game because he gets to go so far and then get back to ledge. A lot of times with the other best edge guarders, they like go off stage to try to hit you, and then if they're wrong, they'll like slowly make it to stage and maybe get around, or maybe like get ledge trapped, or maybe they get around the ledge trap, but at the very least it's close. Sonic will go like spin, jump forward air. Oh, I was wrong. Up B. I'm good. I'm back. Time to ledge trap. His forward air is so good off stage. His back air is so good off stage. Spring is obnoxious. He has a disadvantage state that should be bad, but it's not, right? Because he has good enough air mobility. He has the ability to footstool off of his opponents. He has the ability to landing nair or landing back air or directional air dodge all of a sudden. And if you aren't hitting Sonic as hard as you possibly can every single time he gets put in disadvantage, whether it's from like him spinning or just like you actually hit him, you don't win because he does more damage on hit than most other characters in the game. What's his worst matchup? Fox. Sonic's his beat light. Sonic's is obviously an amazing player. This is not to downplay the skill of the Sonic players. He has a frame 2 air dodge, so he has, he gets out of a bunch of combos. He can also mash up. He has like it doesn't matter out of combos. The only way to beat Sonic is with an incredibly slow, incredibly scary war of attrition because no character does as much, very few characters do as much damage as Sonic does to them. And the two that do, specifically in the matchup, are Pika and Fox, and maybe Samus. But at the same time, those characters are all, surprisingly, more susceptible off stage and in disadvantage than Sonic is, at least in those matchups, because Sonic also has, by the way, the best two-framing move in the game, or top two-framing move in the game at the very least with forward smash. So it's like, you got hit off stage, bop. Oh, sorry, you can't double jump and disadvantage. Cool, I'm just gonna juggle you because you can't double jump. Oh, you air dodge, landing, nair, back air. Also, nair combos into every move in the game. His killing is ridiculous. He's so strong, and then he times you out. 85% of the cast simply gets hit by Sonic once and runs, and you can't do anything if the Sonic doesn't fuck up. Because of spin shot, because of jump back spin shot. There's so little counterplay to what Sonic wants to do in neutral, in advantage, and disadvantage. There's a lot more. Like, Steve is really frustrating because you think there's the counterplay and then you randomly got clipped because there was a block behind you and you didn't see it and you got minecart and you got charge up smash at 75 and you died. That sucks. Sonic, you know the counterplay. You know when you're down 45% against that character, you go, God damn it. Steve, you can make comebacks on. Steve, you can wallet his resources. The only resource that Sonic has is his double jump, and you simply just don't have to use it most of the time. He does well versus every single top tier. He wins both matchups, in my opinion, against the top 3, so he beats Steve, he beats Game & Watch. So in a matchup where it's the other top 3 characters, he wins. He loses to Pika. Pika's way less common, so it doesn't matter. He loses to Fox, but I feel like there's a lot of optimization in the matchup that the Sonics don't do. And then does well versus Peach, does well versus Brawler, beats Corrin, beats Cloud, beats Roy, probably, beats Sonic, beats beats Snake, this is probably even, beats Joker, beats Aegis, beats Palu, beats Yoshi. Like, what do you do? And of course, is a lot of this because Sonic's is also insane and grinds a bunch of tiny niche matchups? Yeah, but the fact that more people don't do that is kind of pathetic in terms of the Smash Ultimate scene. And you don't need another character because he does not have, he barely has -1s, and he definitely doesn't have a -2. So like between all the characters, like you have to be good at neutral, have a good recovery, be able to keep in disadvantage. She has so many checkboxes that you have to hit, and also like fast. And if you aren't one of those, you simply lose the matchup and GG's you lose. Or they fuck up and like SD with homing attack. Akola, the #1 Steve in the world, has studied against Cloud so hard and got shit on by Spargo. To the point where that Akola went Aegis. When do you think Sonic is going to pick up a secondary? Motherfucker has Sonic in his name. He's not picking up a secondary. He doesn't need it. And again, I like the Sonic matchup personally. I hate it online. It sucks. But I like the Sonic matchup. I have good record. I'm confident versus the Sonic players offline. But I play one of the 2 characters that can say that. Or one of the 3, sorry. Love this Luigi placement. Dude, that's what I said. I literally said when I was recording, I don't know if you were here, Ike, I was like, top players understand this over this. Thank you, YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube. Bye-bye.